Hey everyone, welcome to Dialog Choices Podcast, whether you like it or not.
Wait, that's not the name now, is it?
What?
Whether you like it or not is not part of the title?
No, that was the thing I said in that was the sentence. That wasn't in the title.
I see.
You hear
Andrew,
whether you like it or not, except they clicked here and they can click out at any moment. They have the power.
No, they can't.
Oh no.
They just
Oh
don't
no.
know it. It's here forever. Has it ever happened to you where you open a video and like go backwards and then the video just keeps playing and the tab is not in the video? Has it ever happened to you?
I've had a few instances where a tab just keeps playing audio from something and it won't go away until I just like either
Close
refresh the tab or like I copy the URL and then close the tab and then paste the URL to reopen it because like something just didn't work right. I'm sure it's tied to the fact that like there's a bunch of mechanics on YouTube where it tries to keep it. They're trying to keep the features from the phone version of YouTube on the desktop version now, where you'll like page out of certain videos and it'll be in the bottom corner now.
Yeah,
and that's infuriating. I hate as somebody who constantly uses the drop down menu on my subscriptions page, which already is in a bad place, and that you have to highlight the video on its title or thumbnail, then go to the ... that only is visible after you've highlighted it, click on it, and then you can add to playlist to add to the way that you sort your videos, because I have a playlist for stuff that I can run in the background and a playlist for stuff that I watch with my eyes. Like I sort content that way, so I can easily have the playlist there and sort through them and all. The top option is add to queue, which sounds like playlist, but it's not. And it's
redundant as well because there's a add to queue button right on the video. You just click on it.
That is also annoying. Yeah. Watch later and add to queue both have buttons, but in order to do save playlist, you have to scroll past add to queue and watch later again just to get to save to playlist. And the add to queue feature makes it immediately pop into the bottom right corner and start playing, and then you have to and then removing it takes longer than adding it because it's like laggy and glitchy, and you're like, no, stop, I never want this feature. How do I turn it off on this entire website? Like, they added autoplay and I hated that, but I immediately flipped the switch and then it never came back. And I'm like, thank you. Why can't every bad YouTube feature be that way?
Autoplay sometimes comes back.
It has never come back for me a single time, and it's been around for years now. Yeah. It remembers continuously.
I don't understand how people can stand just having the autoplay, because they're inevitably going to end up in the bad place. Like, it's YouTube. Of course they're going to end up in the bad place. Oh yeah, no, it just makes you a worse person algorithmically. Yes.
This reminds me though, there's a topic that there's an ongoing thing right now that's we're dealing. I don't know if has it happened yet, but at some point YouTube announced that they were removing auto updating playlists.
Oh yeah,
this has been an annoying background detail that I keep thinking about, but we never discussed yet. So playlists just keep getting worse on YouTube. They just keep removing more and more features. And among other things, the best I can think of is that they keep making new versions of YouTube, like with the whole dashboard and visuals all changed and this new interface and all that. But it's too hard and time consuming, and it requires money to actually port all the features over, so they just drop them. Instead of making a new interface that's all the old stuff but better, they just make an interface that has fewer features.
So let's just contextualize what you're talking about. So the playlists that we have access to used to have a function. It was very well hidden, though. It was a very well hidden function.
It didn't start off well hidden. It started off as the most obvious feature, but yeah,
because when I started YouTube, it was hidden already. It took me a few months to discover that you can just configure your playlists to automatically add videos that you upload based on their title.
Yeah,
if the title contains a certain phrase or whatever.
When I first started YouTube, it was that version of the playlist that we have to search for several menus deep. That was what the playlist just looked like back then. That was the interface back then. So all you did was press the settings button, and there was like 3 different tabs that all had different features, and one of those was the auto update thing. And what you do is, you would just put a string of text in there, and if a playlist had exactly that string of text, and it acted like it was in a quotes. If a video title had that in it, then it would automatically be added to that playlist. So there's like some learning curves here and there. Like you'd be like, let's play Dark Souls. That seems pretty straightforward. But then you realize like Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3 will also be in the Dark Souls playlist. And you're like, oh shit. So then you would be like, okay, let's play Dark Souls part. And you're like, aha, there we go. Not only add the Dark Souls series.
Do you want to know what is really funny? Because you've been manually adding your videos for a while now, even before they cut that feature.
Yeah, because I had to build the habit.
But I didn't build a habit, so right now I am looking at my playlist feature, and every single one is updating automatically because the configuration is still set in. You just can't change the configuration.
Wait, so do you mean like you can't add it to a new playlist, but all your old ones are still working?
Yep, that's what's happening. So they just hid the configuration out of stubbornness.
They didn't even take the functionality away. They just took it from us from using it.
Yep, it's working perfectly fine, which means that if I want to change it... You just have to
never play a new game again.
Yeah, like for example, I don't know, let's play Mass Effect. That's still adding. When I play Mass Effect 2, they're going to be added automatically, and I won't be able to stop it from being added automatically.
Oh no! That means if the functionality, if you there's something wrong with the string and you want to take it away, now you can't because you can't access that menu, but it's still working. Oh no, this is worse.
This is worse. Yes, I did. I am the fool. I am the boo.
Eventually, your solution's just to delete the playlist and make a new one and add them all into it from scratch.
Oh no, but that's worse because of SEO. So you need to
because that playlist has like a history of algorithm impact.
Yeah, I can't do that. I'd rather.
YouTube's infuriating sometimes.
I've been thinking about it honestly, and YouTube is done. Like I know more or less what it is to make an interface because I work in web development and we make a lot of back offices for clients, like customized stuff and all this sort of stuff. So I sort of have an idea of what it takes to think like a user and then program the user interface for something that you're not personally going to use. They make YouTube, like, of course, this for the viewer, it's a whole different ball game. But for us creators, the control panel is made by people who have zero idea of, it's not idea really, but it's like their needs. The people who make the YouTube control panel have none of our needs. Us as Let's Players need so much more stuff than what they have in their control panel. And basically the only thing that it works for is, as far as I'm concerned anyway, it's uploading videos and just navigating through the mess that it is their interface to manage to upload the video. There's
so many things that are worse.
It's always like I'm fighting the control panel every time, and
like
I have to.
I've gotten used to the fact that the dashboard now sorts all of our videos by release date, and so like all your scheduled videos are in the order they will be released in, and it shows the day they're coming out on.
They fixed that. It used to be a bug and that it wouldn't sort properly. Now it's better.
But what they don't do is they don't tell you in the dashboard what time those videos are coming out. So you can't review...
No, you need to hover over the schedule.
Yeah, you can't review whether your times are correct without manually checking every video. And it's like...
exactly. So
whenever I have like a change to make to my schedule where I have to like shift like 5 videos, it's such a thing, and I'm triple checking all of them because the interface makes it so hard.
Yeah.
And like when I talked about the playlist problem... The audience members were pointing out other features that I forgot about that they've also removed, because you used to be able to comment on your own playlist, like not like a comment section, but you could leave notes on each individual video in a playlist that gave information about said playlist. So you could explain like why this thing's in the playlist here, or what that means, or like add any sort of meaning or note, or just whatever you want to do. Like any kind of you could physically put notes on the playlist, and so. In the playlist, the left side showed the thumbnail, and then the title, and then to the right was the comment left by the person who made the playlist. And also, you could set playlists to play specific parts of videos.
So it used to be like that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you could, because specifically, I remember on our old podcast, we did like a music recommendations episode, and Bird kept recommending like these 20-minute like orchestral performances, and he's like, yeah, this part is 7 minutes and stuff like that. And like you could put that in the playlist; it would automatically play the correct part of the video, and that's gone too. And it's like the playlists now just play videos in the order that they're in on the playlist, and you add them all manually one by one. And that's the only way they work. But like I thought of this because of the subscription page, because of the fact like I have another weird issue here, which, as you probably know, if you've ever tried to add a video to your playlist manually via the uploader, it has to load all of your playlists, and it does that by very basically the upload page freezes for about 30 seconds, and you just wait, and you're like hovering over them, and like none of them are turning gray, which means that they're not reacting to your mouse because the interface is frozen and broken. And then after a bunch of waiting, you can finally then click on the playlist you want to add the video to. But I'm here on the subscription page right now. It's like, Game Grumps, Danganronpa, ... Save to playlist, and boom, my playlists are here and it works. I'm already clicking on them. I can just I can add this video to any playlist I want. What the why is our version shit? Why everyone else has a version that works great and it's the same playlist feature. So why is ours take like 30 seconds to load, but every user on the entire that's listening to this right now can go to the subscriptions page, click the ... add save to playlist, and watch as it just loads instantly. Like, I thought that maybe it's because I have so many playlists as a creator, because every single new game, almost all of them have a separate
but it's
playlist.
The same on both sides.
Yeah, but like that's the thing, is I thought maybe it was just because I'm a creator, but then I added something to a playlist manually here, and I'm like, no, it just loads fucking instantly. So it's just shit. It's just bad. They broke something.
Yeah.
Also, they just by the way, they just replaced our playlist page. The one like that's just like on our dashboard. If you just like right click on playlists, open that new tab, like that's a laggy, shitty one that shows fewer things, and every part of it is less user friendly. And you can't search. You have to use the filter feature, which is a whole other slow, jank ass process, and just everything's a mess.
Yeah,
everything's a mess.
Using YouTube control panel is an exercise in having a lot of Excel files so that you can keep track of what you're doing, because YouTube doesn't help you do that. And then fighting the YouTube control panel to make sure that you can do what you need to do.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know how this happened. I don't know how anyone makes this and be like, that sounds good. And I'm just gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, that's what happens. I do mistakes as well.
I'm just always gonna make mistakes. I actually just found a mistake just now. Final Fantasy 14 Part 25. I called it Let's Try Samurai because I was switching to Samurai, but that made it auto add to the Let's Try playlist.
Of course.
But I didn't think about doing that, because until you just told me this, I didn't know that stuff would automatically add, because I thought the feature was going away. But now if I ever use the phrase Let's Try, it'll be added to the Let's Try playlist, even though I don't use automation anymore because the feature's going away and I have to add everything manually every single time.
Let me tell you, for example, a feature that I'm sure, I mean, maybe Andrew doesn't release videos as frequently as we do.
No.
So maybe Andrew wouldn't share this need. But what if YouTube could, for example, have a little schedule, like a calendar thing where you need a video for this time slot, you need a video for this time slot, and you have all the, like, everything is already populated.
I think they just don't want, I don't think they don't want channels that upload as often as we do. Yeah. So they don't want to help us because they want us to go away.
But the thing is, even the channels who channels with fewer videos, like only one video per day, because I think that's still more or less what the algorithm likes. Even those channels, they still need a schedule. Wouldn't it be nice to have like the YouTube warn you about, you need to make a video for this. You haven't uploaded a video for next week, or because that's what I do with my Excel things. I note down the videos I have recorded and all this sort of stuff. And I found a system that allows me to copy paste everything, so I don't have to keep writing the titles and make typos and all that.
I mean, I used to have a system where I would open the editing tab for the most recent video in a series that was already uploaded, and I'd open that on one screen. Then on the other screen, I would drag every single video of that series that I'm currently uploading today into the uploader. It would queue all of them simultaneously, and they'd all be open at the same time. And then I would copy paste each element one by one. So I would copy the tags from the finished video and paste that to the tag section of all of the videos I'm uploading. Then the description, then the title, while changing the number and ending of each one. And it was so quick. And then like that entire workflow is gone because there's no version where you can have a bunch of uploads all on the screen at the same time and edit their details all at once. Because they went to the new interface for everything, and most damningly, when we first got the new interface for uploading, you could not queue uploads at all. You could only have one upload at a time, which meant I had to babysit my channel all day, every day, because I had to check in like every 40 minutes or whatever, just to see like, is the current upload done? Okay, I can close this window and start the next upload. And I had to do that every day for every video. And it was just it was a mess that I had to upload. If I was uploading 6 videos in a day, that I had to upload them at 6 different times, which was just stupid. That's thankfully gone, but the new replacement is still the weirdest, jankiest nonsense where you get every time you upload a video, you get a full screen pop-up in the middle of your window. You fill up all the data. You manually page through like 6 pages of data of like what it wants you to input and all of the monetization questions, because they quiz you about the content of the video every single time and so on and so forth. Then when you finally finish that and you hit conclude, you then have to click the X to make it go away, and then it goes into the bottom right corner of the window in a little queue, and then you can finally start uploading another video. Like, it's such a weird... Like, it used to literally... You could drag a bunch of videos in the same thing, and they would just queue directly above each other in the same window, and you would just scroll through them, which is like...
Do you know...
If you go to, like, SoundCloud and other places, that's still what they'd use.
Does it not do that? I'm pretty sure it still does that.
No.
No, I think it might
not the old way.
Time.
It's not the way they used to be able to. It's not the way you used to be able to like drag 5 videos in, and they would all simultaneously queue over each other as like a scrolling list where you could literally see all of the contents of the window scrolling.
No, yeah. That's what.
It's what I was saying.
Yeah, well, that's gone.
It's what I was just saying. You have to do the entire 5-page quiz and enter every single piece of information, and then close the window, then manually open the next one, and then do all of that in one go. Like, you can't.
Gotcha.
My whole workflow of being able to quickly enter all the data is just gone.
Just to buttress the point of us fighting the interface.
And that 30-second playlist thing happens every time I do one of those.
What I do is I'm gonna upload like 10 videos, maybe in 2 days or 3 days I upload 10-15 videos. So I open 10 to 15 tabs, all with the upload page. upload, and then I drag manually for each one of those tabs. I drag the files, and then they all start uploading at the same time. They don't slow the internet down, fortunately, anymore, but they used to be. And then I do page down, and paste page down, paste down, and all that little by little. And it takes me a while, but it's
I don't know if that's saving that much time.
No, at least I don't make mistakes with that method, because it's always like I do all the all the titles first. I copy all the descriptions, and then because I use the end game types, the little tabs at the end of they're not called tabs. What are they called at the end of the videos?
End cards.
End cards.
End cards. That's the one. Not end game. End cards. I use those as well, so I paste the links properly into. I have like a whole system to paste the link for the next episode on each one. It's
I'm legitimately like, end cards are too much work. I'm not bothering. Just fuck it. I've never had data that end card was that effective anyway. Sometimes if I'm feeling real cheeky, I'll upload part 1 of a series, and I'll like link to the playlist for that series, or maybe a related playthrough or something in the end card. But I almost never use end cards, in part because you have to, like, if I remember correctly, you have to wait for the video to completely finish uploading and processing before you can even add them. And it's just it's such a tail to everything.
But it's the same. Well, it's the same with monetization.
Here's the thing.
No, monetization you add manually at the during. You can add that while you're uploading it.
If it's not processed, it doesn't let you customize what monetization does.
You mean where the ads show?
Oh, you don't mean the quiz?
Yeah. No, the quiz appears immediately. The one with 10 questions.
No, I just leave monetization as whatever my channel default is still.
Yeah. So the thing is, especially with YouTube, the more changes that keep happening, the more it's not meant for solo creation.
There's some, you need like a staff whose job it is to upload things.
You need someone whose job it is to like manage your account. People who like upload, people who deal with the monetization parts, the end cards. Like there's all this, there's all these other things that people need to be doing that not you, the guy who's creating the content, which is like, the way like Game
Which was stupid because they mostly haven't added features. They just made every single part of it way harder to the point where you basically need a person to do it. That's not the main person, but we haven't gained much in the process.
And so a lot of that isn't, I can see, because the more I keep using it, the more I understand what's going on. And they're trying to migrate the dashboard into like a web, like, a web 2.0, not web 2.0, but like an actual full-fledged HTML5 page where everything happens on this one live dashboard. It's just all it is. It's an entire functional like everything you do in this dashboard. Like when you're uploading videos, the uploads stay in the bottom. When you go to content and check other videos, the uploads are still there. Everything you do, like even when you filter channel content, search across your channel, all of this is like you've gone into a SaaS service. And the problem is that they actually they didn't think about how the dashboard was used prior to making it a SaaS service. They just there must have been some kind of like, I imagine a meeting, and someone came in and said, look, all dashboards in Google have to be SaaS. Like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we got to do it, guys. And like, this is what YouTube came up with, but it doesn't make sense because YouTube doesn't work this way. It's not a service. There's no like, it literally just hosts videos you upload. And so that like trying to turn that into a weird service isn't going to work out. Like even the way that you're talking about prior wasn't good. Like the way that you could do multi-uploads the way like that, it was still a shitty system.
It was just less bad.
Yeah, but the problem is like it's never been made to do what people use it for. And so the problem is like trying to keep updating this site that has never been built for users. And it's like, what do you do with it? It's like a mess. And someone keeps inheriting it and has to try to make do with this terrible design. And that's why you have like weird fourth generational services. Like you click on something and it brings you to a web page like 400 years in the past. And you're like, how did I get up here? And that's because somebody inherited a thing and was like, I don't have time for that. And then the next person inherited is like, I still don't have time for that. And then finally the third person inherited is like, I'm not going to even bother. Hotlink. So like,
Hotlink.
It's so weird.
If people don't understand how janky because the playlist stuff is, because I don't think we quite covered this here, but I've talked about it elsewhere too, is that there was all these features in the original playlist page, or at least the page that we've had for a very, very long time. Like it's the version that Andrew and I saw in like 2011 when we were getting started, like was that playlist page. For the longest time, they uploaded the YouTube dashboard on our end. And many of you guys saw this too, if you ever actually hit the advanced settings thing, because, you know, every user has access to playlists as a feature. If you clicked on there was like a new playlist that had like just shittier and shittier interface and fewer buttons, but you'd click on like advanced settings and it would literally load an old version of the website so you could actually work with your playlist because all the features were on the old version of the website. And I'm pretty sure this has happened twice, to the point where we're rewinding to 2 websites ago because they still hadn't ported any of the features. And so after like an embarrassingly long time of them still not porting any of these features forward, they then just went on to remove the features instead. They just gave up instead of keeping the feature where we could rewind back to the old website to access the menu because they keep not making it in the new into the new page.
And I imagine it's probably because they can't. The new way that they built this whole interface probably doesn't support that playlist system.
But it does, because it was still a feature.
It's still working.
It's remained a feture well after they switched to this new interface.
It's still working right now, as I said before. It's like,
so again, it's not that they turned off the feature; it's that the interface
they turned off
to make
the
it
button
work
for going back.
Yeah, because the interface portion doesn't fit with what they're trying to do.
Like they saw that and they're like, it's really embarrassing how we keep sending them back to an old version of the website because we still haven't ported the features over. And instead of seeing the solution as port the features over, they saw the solution as delete the features.
They can't. They cannot. They just. So
and then here's another thing too. The fucking post says like, we decided to remove these features because nobody was using them. It's like, you fucking hid them. Everyone's response to my post about the feature going away was everyone like, oh my god, that sounds super useful. That was there.
Yeah.
Like, for everyone's years, everyone's like aghast they didn't know that feature was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's also, you know, you have to understand that YouTube's a big company, and big companies can't make good decisions. It's not like that's not how the workflow works in a big company. You don't make good decisions. The bigger you get,
profitable decisions.
Yeah, you make profitable decisions. And so someone showed up and went, all right, we need to we need to lower the usage of our servers by this much %. What can we fucking cut? And someone goes, no one's touched the advanced tab in playlists in like years. Like, it's gone. They're not going to go and like survey. They're not going to ask, hey guys, anybody using this? Did you not know it's here? Is it necessary? Can we get rid of it? You know, there's not like this, you know, if you've ever worked with a startup company, you'll notice that they try to like they'll try to build features or remove features based on feedback. They'll reach out and say, okay, we're looking to optimize this. Can we cut this feature, or is this actually necessary and we just don't have view to that? And usually, like, yeah, sure, you can get rid of whatever feature. No one's ever touched it. Majority consensus of creators say so. And then you can reach out and say, like, yeah, playlists. Like, oh, can we cut out playlists? People go, no, we absolutely use it. It's like, oh, so the average users don't do it, but creators need it absolutely. Yeah, okay, sounds good. Let's get rid of it, because clearly the creators aren't the people we want to make comfortable here. And it's
they don't give us money; they take money. What is this?
Yeah, and so that's the thing is it's frustrating because it can be better, but it's also frustrating because it never will be better. Like YouTube it will never get better, and it will always continue getting worse. But it definitely could at any point just actually be a better website. Like It's not that it's impossible to do what you're doing, like to do content creation here. Yeah. And it can be better because it used to be better. There used to be instances of it being better. And you can go and like, well, how come you can't make that work? And it's like, that was a good idea, huh? It's like, yeah, can we do that? And it's like, well, let's bring it up the chain. And the moment you get to like 2 links above, you're like, oh yeah, this is impossible. No one's ever going to approve this shit. Like you have to, I can see it because Google is definitely the same type of company where you have to keep moving forward, and you know, much like all of their applications, you have like Google Voice, you have like all these Google applications that get built. They go forward with them, and then someone stops touching it for like 30 minutes, and then it's dead forever. And Google's just like, I don't know what happened. That no one ever used it. People are like, everyone used it. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, well. We didn't touch it for 30 minutes, and we're not going to pick it up off the ground because that's dirty. I mean, and so they just move on, and you're like, what?
They killed Google Reader. They killed Google Reader. My God.
Yeah, they killed Google Reader. They killed Google Google Number was super useful. The ability to just like, hey, Google, can I get like a random generated phone number and then redirect that phone number to whatever number I want? It's like, yeah, you can do that. It's like, that's really, thanks, that's helpful. It gets rid of a lot of spam. And they're like, yeah, so instead of making it a paid service, we're just going to cancel it. It's like, well, I would also pay for it. It's like, nah, we're just going to get rid of it. Like, okay.
It doesn't fit with our...
Yeah, and then they turn around and they go, surprise, we made Google Voice. It's a cell carrier. I was like, what? Why? Why would you do that? And it's like, couldn't you have just kept Google Voice? It's like, no. Okay, fine. I don't know. It's weird. And the other thing too is you can look and go like, why aren't there certain, you know, again, why aren't there things that you integrate with? Like why can't YouTube integrate with Google Calendar? Why can't YouTube integrate with email? Like why can't I? There's so many weird things where you're like, you have this ecosystem and YouTube seems like it's not a part of it, even though it is. It's like this weird like stepchild that Google doesn't want. It's like, well, we acknowledge it exists, but we're not going to love it. And it's like, oh, okay, yes, great. That's fantastic.
Don't make us
like everything else. Everything else you remember they did like the whole. Do you remember they did the whole thing where your Google Plus account had to, by law, by fucking decree of a god higher than us, had to interact with YouTube because it was the only way that they could make everything work together. And then they just canceled Google fucking Plus. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Google. You need to stop that. Like, they did this whole thing, and they're like, yeah, we stopped doing that, though. It's like, so why did we do that? And it's like, well, so embarrassingly enough, we thought we could make a social media website. Okay, but you failed.
The thing is, YouTube is a social media website. They were misguided from the beginning because
Google doesn't need a social media website. That's the thing. Google doesn't need
I don't
that.
know, actually.
No,
it's
they
very,
don't
very profitable to
there
know
is LinkedIn,
so much stuff about it.
There is Facebook, there is Twitter.
No.
Already, those three are enough. Like, they all suck at what they do, and that is being a social media website. Google had no chance. They couldn't make a social media website that would be good. They were coming into a field that like was already milked to its core, and it's already garbage. There's nothing you could innovate. There's nothing you can do that would be somehow revolutionary or different or impressive. Like their goal was, well, we have the G Suite. You can integrate with that. It's like, no.
The G Suite.
Yeah, it's like, well, you got their calendar and your email and the YouTube, and you can like combine those to make a crappier LinkedIn page. And I was like, why would I do that? I could just get a LinkedIn page, you fucking idiot. And it's like, well, what about Facebook? You could have a better Facebook. It's like, I'm not going to tell, like, I have to link it to my YouTube account. And now my family's going to know about my YouTube videos. Maybe I don't want them to. And it's like, now I can't hide that from them. And it's like,
yeah.
Well, you can.
That was why my channel originally switched to having my real name. Was because Google Plus was like a forced integration all of a sudden, and it was like,
a lot of people did that. There's a lot of channels you can look, and it has their real name because they were forced, strong-armed into this really dumb like agreement that like,
that it ever was necessary. Because I know Kurt J. Mack, that fellow that is going to the far lands in Minecraft for years now. His channel, I follow his content, and he said at the time, because before Google Plus died, he kept saying that he never integrated with Google Plus. He kept delaying it, and because of that, he had some very unique problems on his YouTube channel for a while. I think it was like for 3 months. Some people couldn't leave comments in his videos. Only a few select people, and it wasn't even related.
Yeah, because the comment section had Google Plus integration.
Yeah,
and it changed how the comment section worked. Mm-hmm. There was like 2 different kinds of comments in your comment section that had different functionality.
Yes.
What is it like? I'm trying to remember, because like every now and then you get a video that's so old, you see the old kind of comments on it.
Yeah.
And I don't. Weird, but it's hard.
Like
it's hard
people
for me to remember.
To people who aren't there.
Oh yeah, there wasn't threads.
Yeah, there wasn't threads.
You just had to.
And even the threads that exist for a while,
shouted at people, and maybe they'll see it.
No, even the thread after a while, the first threads that were introduced, those have stopped working, and now they're all just comments in a list.
I think the Google Plus mandatory threads are busted or something. Yeah, it's so strange.
Again, it's baffling because Google has the money. It's not a problem. They could just, if they wanted to, they could invest like $100 million and hire a company to just redo it all. Like just make YouTube again away from YouTube.
YouTube again,
yeah. Just make it. Just don't try to build on top.
Yeah.
Because right now YouTube is in this like highway situation where people keep paving over the highway, but no one's pointing out like, hey, but the highway is built on water. It's like, yeah, but if you just keep pouring cement, it will eventually stay stable. It's like no, move the road off the water. It's like no, just keep building on it. It's like no. Guys, just do it clean. Just go and make a clean, brand new YouTube. Yeah. Don't like try to build on top of what exists. Make it from the ground fucking up. And then from there, you can go like, oh, look, we did. Now it's a SaaS service. You can easily just change and hot swap UI elements forever. Like,
yeah,
it's so, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me that they can't do that. And then you look at other Google applications and you can see them, like they are progressing in a normal and healthy manner. Like Gmail has been very consistent for its entire life. Things have changed about it dramatically. Like the way you look at email, the way that you communicate, like the way you start emails and stuff. A lot of stuff changes, but the core. The inside, you open the hood and you look inside of it, and it still is the same. It's still the exact same. To be fair,
email is about as simple as it gets.
Yes,
it is very simple.
But the interface, the UI that they have developed, is done. They can hot swap that all they want because the backend is fine. The backend doesn't change from that. And that's what YouTube's problem is that they keep trying to. They want to change the front, which is fine. But the way that YouTube was previously built, if you change the front, you have to change the back. It's like they're tied to each other. And that's what this new update is they're trying to like reel it away where they're like, okay, but if we can just make the UI a whole separate thing from the back end, then we can just fuck that all up at any time and it doesn't ruin the actual product. Like, that's what they're trying to do. And I feel so bad because you can see, I mean, Colonel, you built UI before. You know what it's like if you're like, you have one thing you want to change. Like, I just want to change the logo in the top right. It's like, oh, well, you got to change every single web page. And you're like, no, I'm not going to. No, we're just not changing the logo then. Like, that's the situation YouTube's in. Is like, oh, well, we want to like make it so playlists are more manageable. It's like, God, then we have to redo the whole playlist thing. We got to tear all of it apart and do it again. It's like, no, forget it. Just get rid of the features. It's like, what? Like, well, wait, you just want to throw it away then? It's like, well, it's either that or we got to do work. And no. Like, I don't know. Anyways, it's frustrating. I hope that.
I mean, I'm sure the engineers are all like they all know what we're talking about. Like the people who are actually coding and the designers and like the people who are actually working. I'm sure they know what we're talking about. It's the people making the decisions that have to balance other things. That it's as you say. Like it's not about They're not there to make the right decisions. They're there to make the profitable decisions. And if it's going to cost 10 times more just to keep a feature that well, screw it.
And and engineers don't really. They just make things exist. They're not the ones making decisions. They don't show up to work and are like, I'm going to change the whole scope of YouTube. Like it's ladder climbing, and somebody too high to see down below is making a decision that affects people in the heat of the battle. Like people that are actually using this interface are having like things stripped away or things added unwanted by somebody who's never once uploaded a YouTube video in their entire life. And it's like, that's a problem. You should probably not do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Because I mean, who would? Like if someone had actually been uploading videos before, they wouldn't have changed the uploader to how it is now. That's a terrible design. Like he said, it's a frustrating experience. So like you have to like do an entire
you just always want to hope like if they're going to change an entire interface that like it's going to give you new functionality that's useful as a trade-off for some whatever the inconvenience is. Like it's big and complicated because it's got so much good stuff in it. It's like, no, it's just really badly made. Like the first page of the uploader, like before you even get to the multiple page part, the first page has like a show more button that then gives you like 3 times as many things to fill in. That you have to like click on manually to get, and that's where they hid tags and like what is the name of the game is. It's like, what? You listing the name of the game is like a more recent feature you presumably want us to be using. You didn't, isn't that why you added it? But now you're hiding it like it's a super optional feature that should be deprioritized. Well, it's like, are you already bored with that feature?
Doesn't YouTube detect automatically?
Not well.
But also, Keith, what happened last time they hid features that people forgot about?
They removed them because no one used them.
Oh no! Whatever will they do?
Going by that logic, they're going to remove the subscription tab because no one uses it because they hide it so well. I think
they are.
Because so many people don't know the subscription page exists.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys ever experienced? I want to keep on to quiz people about this. Have you guys ever experienced videos being hidden from you by like the algorithm from your subscription feed? Because people claim...
I don't use subscriptions.
No, you just don't use subscriptions at all. So you use the subscription page, Colonel. Yeah, yes. I use the subscription page constantly. I always hear people complaining that videos are suppressed, or why didn't YouTube show me this series you were uploading? Oh my, I just saw in part 7 you were uploading this series. Why didn't they show me till now? And like they always claim that YouTube's hiding videos from them. I have never confirmed a single example of any video being missing from my subscription tab in all of the years that I've been using it, except when it's just delayed and that like, oh, it just uploaded and I can look at it, I can see it on their page that it's there.
Sometimes like 5 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, it might take like up to an hour to show up, but that's it. If the
world is ending.
So I'm genuinely like, I think people just don't know subscriptions exist as a page. I think they just subscribe and then use their front page, which is 50% stuff they're not even subscribed to in the first place. It's like, check out these talk shows you don't like and stuff like that.
I wish I could get rid of the news tab. I wish I could fucking kill it. Every time I'm like scrolling through the front page, I'm like, oh, okay, here's all the cute VTubers I like. And it's like coronavirus. No, get out of it. No, I'm specifically not watching you. Go away. And then I have to like click like ... not interested ... not interested ...
don't recommend
every
this
single
channel again. That's what I do.
Well,
MSNBC,
you know what I mean.
murder.
I have to do that, but for every single news agency in the world, and I'm like, okay, now I'm getting like Al Jazeera news, and I'm like, what?
You
no,
know,
just don't show me news.
Whenever I watch certain videos and it brings up like a shitty reactionary channel in my sidebar as a recommended video based on what you're watching or whatever, I'm like, nope, nip this in the bud. So I then open another tab, the main page, and I just keep scrolling the infinite scroll until that page shows up, because that's the only page where you can say that don't recommend me to the channel button.
Oh, really?
The don't recommend this channel button is not in the sidebar in recommended videos. It's only on the front page. So if a creepy, you only get not interested, which does not do that.
Yeah. No. You can no. If you click the ... on a video, the options are not interested or don't recommend this channel.
No, it's not interested or report.
Yeah.
No.
If you're watching
on the sidebar, Andrew, you're not. I don't think you're listening.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the sidebar. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, on the main page,
that was my entire point. I'm saying that when I'm watching a video in the sidebar, it shows me shitty shit sometimes from garbage channels I don't want to ever see again. So in order to fight that, because the option's not there, I have to open the main page on the front page and keep scrolling till it recommends them again, and then delete them that way, and then I'll stop showing up for all places.
In YouTube's defense, that feature that don't recommend this channel again works very well.
Yeah, too bad they fucking hide the feature. I would like to be able to manually add things to that list without finding their videos first.
I'm sure
like
there's people who
if I just know they exist, I would like to just
I'm sure there's people who don't even know what we're talking about, even though we're talking about it since the beginning.
Yeah,
what happens is if
it's
you
so great.
use a
Like
mouse
I haven't seen a
cursor,
single like quartering video or like upper echelon gaming video in like a year, because you can just delete the channel from your YouTube.
So if for those listening, what we're talking about is what happens when you put a mouse in the main page. You put a mouse over a video, and the video starts playing and all that. You know how it goes. And then when the mouse is over there, there's like this little tiny 3 dots icon on the lower right side, right next to the video, to the video title. And if you click on that thing, which is very nondescript, and it's not a hamburger icon like you would expect it to be because it's a menu, it's like a 3 little thing, and then there's a drop down list.
It's a very narrow hamburger. It's a hamburger slice. What a horrifying idea! You buy a hamburger and you slice it up like a pizza,
and then it's cake.
You serve it with a little pie server.
My God!
But YouTube has a lot of
those are your viral TikTok content.
It's a lot of weird like nested features and menus you would never know because of
a lot of features on YouTube are like 5 clicks deep. Because they make the interface as convoluted as possible in many cases. There's there's a decent number of menus where you get like 2 options total, and then the third option is advanced settings, and that's where the real features are, because they were terrified that their menu might have like a 4th option.
Oh, they do still have it. I was gonna say, I wonder if anybody even remembers they have a button to try out new features.
Oh, the labs button or whatever.
Yeah,
who clicks that? That's like asking for.
I always have to Google where it is because I can't find it in the interface.
That's like
it used to be on the bottom of the page.
The new features.
Yeah, it used to be on the bottom of the page, but you can't reach the bottom of the page anymore because all of the pages scroll forever.
Now it's on the bottom of the sideline.
It's on the bottom of the sidebar.
There's like they have to be sneaky. Yeah. It's all sneaky. But I went down some rabbit holes during the last half an hour a little bit. So I have a few different things to bring up potentially.
Let's go for it.
This is the most specific one with the shortest discussion, but just curious, Colonel, did something happen recently with Pillars of Eternity?
No.
Have you heard of anything?
Not that I know.
Okay. Because I was determined to find any new functionality in the dashboard, so I was kind of navigating the dashboard while discussions were happening, and one of the things I found is that my most viewed video for the last 48 hours is Pillars of Eternity Part 1. And so I was like, wait, maybe it's just like an evergreen video like We Were Here, where it's just always getting views. But I look at it like, no, it didn't have views. Like 3 days ago, it was getting 1 to 10 views per day. But for the last 3 days, it's gotten like 1,000 views per day. And I'm like, what's going on?
Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny are next week's free Epic Store games.
That's true.
So it was announced. Okay. I'm just
so people are trying to look at it before they download
views. Because I looked at it, and the search. I specifically know that all the views are coming from search results, and everyone's typing different variations of Pillars of Eternity Definitive Edition. And I was like, why is this happening? What happened that it made everyone suddenly care about Pillars of Eternity Definitive Edition on December 3rd?
Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny are free the same day that Cyberpunk comes out.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Are they even related? Why that? Why?
Because they're the same company. And they kind of the same... They're the same engine.
They're the same company?
Tyranny and Pillars of Eternity. Yeah. It's all Obsidian.
No, as Cyberpunk.
Oh no, it's because
sorry.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're tied to Cyberpunk, and Cyberpunk's definitely not made in Unity.
No.
That would be concerning. But
I think they're just doing it because it's a day that people are going to be taking off to play games, so it's like a good play. It's a good way to like rake in some viewer or some people to Epic Store.
But that was the minor thing. The real rabbit hole is that I found what's either a new feature or a feature I forgot existed, because that's always a thing too. I went to the dashboard front, like the front page of the dashboard, the one I almost never go to.
Place.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a weird noise page of data, but none of it's usable immediately.
It used to be good because you could customize it and show the things that you cared, and now you can't.
Oh God, you did used to be able to customize it.
And now I don't use it at all.
Just like how I used to be able to customize my stream page by dragging the elements around however I wanted them. And the stream, remember when the stream page was good like 6 months ago?
Are you kidding? The last time I tried streaming I tried streaming on YouTube, I couldn't know if I had gone live, so I just canceled the whole stream altogether because I didn't know.
Yeah, they used to have the same interface that Twitch has.
Oh God!
And then they just got rid of it.
Twitch has a pretty bad interface as well. But
It used to be that if I wanted to stream, I would just hit stream in OBS and it would just go. And at most, I would just have to change the title to be the new game or whatever, and that was just enough. But now I have to like open the page manually. It creates a pop-up in the middle of the screen once I click edit stream. Then in that thing, I rename the game. Then I scroll all the way down to the bottom to add the name of the game that I'm playing. Then I scroll back up, and I have to change it from unlisted or private to public. Otherwise, the stream won't be public. Then I have to go to the sidebar on the left and click monetization and turn on monetization every single time. And I'm like, this thing's an asshole. This is made by assholes.
Just for those listening, OBS is the software we use to record, and it allows us to stream as well. It connects automatically. It used to anyway. Now it doesn't.
It connects automatically, but it automatically streams an unlisted stream. You have to make it manually public every time. But no, the new feature I found on the front page that may or may not be new, or maybe it's just been moved from somewhere else, was it shows you the channels that have subscribed. It's the recent subscribers section, and I find this interesting. It's recent subscribers in the last 90 days. And it shows you the people that have subscribed in the last 90 days sorted by subscriber count. Mm-hmm. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of like a nice little networking opportunity. Then I find the tab. I'm like, ooh, lifetime. I could just see the lifetime subscribers of this channel sorted by subscription count.
You had that already. It was really well hidden before. You had to go to your channel page and click on the subscriber count, and then you could see.
But I'm looking at this, and I'm just like, this is kind of a networking opportunity. You're like, hey, these people are already subscribed to me. I don't have to introduce myself. It's kind of a neat thing. But the rabbit hole was me looking at these, and I'm just like, what is happening? The number one most popular channel subscribed to me on all of YouTube. I won't call them out because I don't want to name anybody or pressure anyone or whatever. But they have 200,000 subscribers, and their entire channel is 4 cat videos that are about a minute long.
That's,
and I was like, goals. Huh. But then the next
100,000 subscribers,
and then
that's crazy.
And then the second most subscribed channel has almost 200,000 subscribers, and they are a furry animator.
Life goals?
That took me down that's a rabbit hole.
I mean, it's a profitable business.
And I kind of made a few.
Mine is all YouTubers
manage yourself,
Keith. Studios.
My fifth most subscribed channel I clicked on because it's
Horse Studios and.
Oop! I muted myself because I'm a fool.
Clicks. You still haven't changed that. You need to come up with a better solution. Come on.
Well, no, I remapped it when we were playing. I remap it when we play Among Us, and then I try to remember to take it off when we stop playing Among Us.
I will remind you the next time.
I skipped my 5th most subscribed channel that was following me because they had gamer in the name because I was curious. And that went to just a whole other weird thing where I'm just puzzled by this channel because I guess they just must have made videos that did well years ago because they haven't been subscribing lately. They haven't been like posting that much lately and so on. But the specific thing that puzzled me is that they have a bunch of live streams that have been on their channel for like the last year, and they all have Overwatch thumbnails, but they're all Destiny.
Oh.
So that was my weird rabbit hole. I was like, oh, Overwatch. I kind of wonder, like, what I'm kind of curious, like, what level are they? Like, are they, like, where are they in comp? What's going on? Like, they're all Destiny videos. Like, what's happening?
They're so high level. They're not even playing Overwatch anymore.
Just hours and hours of streams, and yeah. That was just I just wanted to get to that out because I was so amused by this confusing revelation. It was like, what is happening? What's going on here, man?
That is odd.
It's an experience. Yeah.
What really baffles me that like because this conversation reminded me of the comments with the hearts for eyes comments and the mouths and the hearts and I'm single,
all the lady
and
bots.
So lovely. Yeah. Like they're all over YouTube. You go to any video whatsoever, if you see them early enough, they're all there everywhere.
Yeah, it's just bots. Yeah. I mean, they're
I have them successfully curbed because I added the emoticons that they use to my automatically detect as spam. So basically, they all go into the held for review section of the comments, and I'm like, report. Oh, look at that, lovely hearts for eyes, mouth, heart with a thing, and heart. No, I'll report the spam. But I don't think those are ever gonna stop being. Like, how can YouTube detect that they're spam though?
I don't know.
What do you mean? How can YouTube detect that they're spam?
Because like it's just somebody saying lovely and then a few icons. That's not spam. That's just it's very meta. The reason why they do that, if whoever's listening doesn't know what we're referring to, they're basically accounts that lead you into porn sites, basically, and they have like very not explicit, but very suggestive avatars, and so if you see the comment, because it's got like icons and hearts and all that, and then there's this semi-naked lady in the
then they're like, "Do you love me?" or something like that, and they're trying to get you to click
I'm
on
single
links
or something.
They're trying to get you to look at their account. They'll often say, like, more information on my profile.
Yeah,
and it's basically it's just a deluge. I just kept adding different variations of the emoticons that they kept doing. Whenever I saw a new one get through the spam filter, I'd add that to my spam filter, whatever the emoticon sequence that was that they made. And then I just ban them every day.
Just add the individual emoticons.
There's just infinite number.
No one uses those emoticons. Just add the individual ones. You cannot put heart comments in my channel.
People do post hearts sometimes.
I never see that. Well, then again, I'm not Keith.
What does that mean?
Well, you're the one that gets hearts. I don't.
I'm such a heartthrob. Me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All this
Everybody
mess.
post hearts in chat.
It's funny. I also get those comments. But I'll usually just go out of my way to like go back. I'll go through the channel and see if there's like a way to contact them, and then just add their email to like a list. So that way the email gets spammed.
No.
Mm.
I'm not doing this as a job, so I just show up and I like look at things randomly, and it's like, oh, I've got time. Sure, I'll fuck this weird account up, and then just move on with my life. But
you definitely would think that YouTube would be coming up with some kind of system by now, just because it's such a deluge across the entire website all day, every day.
The problem is that they're not posting links,
and they're like similar
really
enough to each other. You think you could just algorithmically recognize that as being a spam comment?
I think they have to.
They already suspect things of being spam already that aren't links. Like you would think that such a consistent template would be very catchable at some point.
I mean, I have a comment that showed up as held for review that mentioned one of the characters in the game as them being basically Donald Trump. And that comment got held for review, and I don't have Donald Trump as a word. So I don't know what YouTube is doing. It's just like, I don't know. Sometimes some comments get held for review, then there's no reason. At least in my side.
Am I just a friend of the furries? What's going on here?
Am I just a friend of the furries?
I found another channel that's one of my top subscribers, and they just make Zootopia content all the time. Like all the time. They seem to have, I think they have like a 40 plus chapter, I can't hear it right now because we're doing a podcast and all that, but I think it's like a fake playthrough of a fake video game that's like a Zootopia visual novel. And so he keeps uploading it like in 10-minute chunks, and each one's like chapter whatever of this Zootopia visual novel that I don't think exists. And it looks like
it exists.
It looks like a sequence of different pieces of art kind of cobbled together, and then text flies on in a this is edited as video, not a game kind of way. And I'm just like, they're finding me.
They know. And then they leave the heart comments.
Is it because I posted the notices your code there video? Are these recent?
I don't know.
That was the funniest shit, by the way. I've been having a great time uploading highlights, and one of the things that happens is people will recommend a highlight, and sometimes even Bird will, and like I won't find. Sometimes I'll either sometimes the highlights themselves are just gold, like the recommendation. Sometimes there's certain people that like they recommend a bunch of highlights, and I keep looking at them, and I'm like, I honestly can't tell why this would be a highlight to anybody. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. Even though it's my content, and I don't get why you thought this part was great. But then, like 30 seconds later, a completely different thing will start happening, and then I'm like, oh well, now this is a highlight. And one of those was that. Like I discovered the fucking ooh notices your code there moment from Satisfactory on accident because it happened like a minute after a different highlight suggestion, and I'm like, oh my god, this story is so enthralling. I need to keep it. And it was just like Bird also had forgotten about the story, so it was just like a collective rediscovery of this moment where he was at work talking in furry speak to his own interns, and that
like a mama furry
is just such a story. My god. I guess I can post that in the podcast chat just as reference so you guys can watch it later if you haven't seen it already. But
I did watch it.
But yeah, these are fun discoveries. I've been posting them every other day. It's just kind of fun. Like I've been making so much content for so long that like it's fun to rediscover great moments that I completely have forgotten about over the years. But also like sometimes there's like a chain reaction where like one thing will jog my memory so that I then remember several more things. It's like, oh yes, and I'll remember like several things from that same playthrough or scenario or so on. It's hard though. There's sometimes those moments where you're like, I want a moment. I know what it was. I can remember the joke, and I have no idea where it was in like this endless sequence of like, it's like, this is a 40-part playthrough of half-an-hour episodes.
I can't believe you remember any, though. It's like you're saying that's everything for me. I can't do a single highlight video. I don't remember anything.
Well, sometimes I
watch everything.
Multiplayer helps. There's a lot of highlights in multiplayer stuff and interactions. And interactions with people are often more memorable than you just talking at a camera and not getting any feedback about it along the way. So a lot of my highlights feature other people, or they're traumatic. Like I uploaded being attacked in Subnautica today. But a feature I have discovered that is helpful, and I just kind of wish, for a long time here, I figured like they added subtitles that are algorithmically generated, and I'm like, I don't think they're necessarily doing that to help people that need subtitles. I think they're doing it so they can better police their website by keeping track of what is said in every video, and base your monetization and so on what the content of the video is explicitly. But what is useful is if you go to any video, you can go to that ... on the actual play page of the video, and next to the thumbs up and thumbs down and share and save and playlist, there's the ... and it's the only two options are report and open transcript.
This is the first time I'm seeing that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been there for sure, but when you open transcript, yeah, you can then search at least what the auto subtitles think you said. And that is definitely useful, at least if you can find the right video. It does still mean that I have to manually open the transcript of 40 different videos and Control F a word that hopefully the algorithm caught if I'm trying to find something, which is not great. But yeah, it's definitely interesting and useful to have. I definitely wish, because like they definitely have this data here. I wish you could search your own videos transcripts across your channel the same way that you can search comments on your channel.
Right?
Because that would be so helpful. That would be so helpful for finding when did we have that conversation? Like, where was that? Like, I'm trying to remember. I want to find this one clip to see if it was funny or not, or as funny as I remember it being, and if, like, whether it should be a highlight. For example, is that we had a stupid Family Guy joke. And the problem here is, like, I can't even search it via transcript necessarily unless I try to find related words, because I don't know how the fuck the subtitle would try to like write that part down. But like we had the joke called the Quagmower, which was this idea of like you take the Quagmire from Family Guy with his giggity giggity goo thing that he does, and you apply that to like trying to start a lawnmower. It's just the funniest mental thought. Like, this is the funniest like thought of like what it would sound like of the like the stupid attempt to start up the fucking Quagmore. And I just want to see that clip again to see if it's funny enough, but I'll never find it. I have no idea where it is. I'm so fucked.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
Unless the audience knows.
Yeah. That's why you asked, so that people could say this is a highlight.
It was mostly just like the thought process, but I was just like, that was the like my most recent dead end. But you know, I put out like and you could potentially do that with your audiences. You could let them know like, yo, what highlights do you remember or whatever, because everyone remembers totally different things. But I quickly had to graduate from a text document to a spreadsheet to keep track of these. With like a separate,
because of course there's no tool on YouTube.
Yeah,
I need
a separate column for like which playthrough was the recommendation from, what is the part number of the playthrough, who submitted the actual recommendation, and then what is the text of the recommendation, which maybe features the time code or might just be like a hint at when it was. And as you might imagine, any number of these recommendations has multiple blank entries, because some of them I don't even know what game they might have happened from, but many of them there's no part number, so it's just like, that part with the thing that happened. I'm like, fuck. I'm never finding this. It's just gonna die in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, you need to go into like, what's that thing with that therapy that you just go into regression therapy, I think it is, where you go into the state of mind that you were at when you had the memory, so you can relive it, and then that's the one. You need to recreate the conditions.
I don't think it's regression memory, but there's like a recreate your memory sort of thing. Although there's there's sometimes controversy about that particular idea. At least the therapy version of it is like in the therapy version, like you're quote unquote recovering memories from your past, but because the human mind is so suggestible that if you try too hard to like try to recover a memory, you essentially just create a memory, and then you believe a thing happened that never happened to you. And that's some irresponsible therapy practices that have been happening with people. That's a whole mess.
Sonic 06 is such a bad game, though.
Oh yeah, no,
it is so impossibly bad.
Yeah,
I was just watching a highlight that you had. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, for context for Kernel's viewers and so on, there's some old sad games highlights, which was me and Andrew's channel. We started in 2011, and a long time ago we played Sonic 06, and we were just kind of working our way through all the Sonic 3D games.
It's so bad.
And how long ago was Sonic 06? 7 years ago. Fuck.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Does it feel like yesterday?
I've made at least 3 highlights of that game.
No, Andrew has put a lifetime between Sonic 06 and
there's a lot of games that I very well can tell it's been a long time because I haven't felt that mad in so long.
There's some real rough highlights because like one of them was fighting the Zoid. There's just like a Zoid in one of the levels, and like Andrew tries to like grind on its back to grab its horn because that's clearly what you're supposed to do. Like there's a rail on its back that leads to its head. That's clearly how you fight it. And randomly, when he does the little dash to dash onto the horn, yes. You just watch as the dash, for reasons I could never explain, because it makes no sense to any level of what I know about anything about game design or how any game would ever work on a functional level. Like I have no idea how it happens. His dash, instead of locking onto the tail of the monster, it kind of like goes forward a bit, but then curves upward and motion blurs and literally goes into the skybox and just fades to black. And it's like Sonic just went to space. And and then he just respawn in the boss fight with one less life. And it's like, what? What? Yep. And now it's on his rediscovering that highlight has put that sound sample on his sound bar.
Yeah.
God, give us a clean play of that.
What?
It's so genuine. It's such like it's the only reaction you can have. It's like there's like a good half second of pure silence, and then that because it was because there's a reaction time where you have to process how stupid the screen just got.
Yes, I get the impression that you didn't even believe what you were seeing.
No,
like I'm sure he's coming back, right?
Yeah,
and then just dies.
That's the thing is like, what do you say to that? Like the game literally takes your character and foists them into space and then steals a life from you mid-boss, and you're like, you got me. You did it, boy.
Like I'm just imagining what it would be like if I'm like in the middle of playing Hades. like imagine like any kind of solid good game and how like taking it back you had to be. Like I'm in the middle of a Hades boss fight, I'm healthy-ish, and then suddenly like my protagonist just T-poses and then levitates into the sky, and then I get a game over. And I'm like,
that sounds about right.
What? Yeah. What happened?
Like,
I don't understand.
Here's a good example. Imagine you're fighting a Dark Souls boss, and you do a really clean roll, and that roll just takes you out. You just die. You just sink through the floor, and you lose everything. You lose your humanity. You lose like
and then
all of it's gone.
Your bloodstain outside of the level.
Then it's and then you're just sitting there, and you're like, what? Why? Like, why would you do this to me? Like that's it's so crazy.
People rail on me for I quick save a lot. Like I quick save. I have a button on my mouse that is basically F5, and it's very good because it allows me to refresh web pages, but it also allows me to quick save on the mouse, which is lovely. But so the thing is, I grew up playing games that were so bugged that it's just half the game was you trying to figure out the bugs. Like I remember I fell in love with Baldur's Gate 2.
Like Wasteland 3 is the most buggy game that we've played since Sonic 06. Like I'm not exaggerating.
Maybe Keith has. I've played a lot of bad games.
Like not bad, buggy.
I grew up playing Baldur's Gate 2. I remember a lot of the time you'd have to like reload saves like an hour or two before because the plot critical NPCs would become unavailable and the game would say this character is busy. Because I didn't have the patch for the game. I didn't have internet. I just had the game. So I'd be playing without patch. So, and Fallout 1 and 2 usually crashed back then. Like, crashes were just normal. It was just like a thing. And
I'm pretty lucky in that I've literally never played an RPG until patches existed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Because, like, my first real RPG was, like, KOTOR.
KOTOR, which incidentally also crashed for you, and you can...
Yeah, that game did become unplayable due to a bug. So maybe not the best example, because there was the Karth bug, which is, for those of you that don't know, I believe it's caused by, like 3/4 of the way through the game, there's like a gimmick section where it's like, you play as your party members instead of you, and so on. And if you pick mission... then you can get like a stealth kit, and like if you finish
mission is one of the characters.
Yeah, the character mission, which is a Twi'lek. if you finish the side section of not playing as your protagonist while stealthed, then there's some sort of weird bug where, and it won't rear its head for hours later, but hours later in the game, the big plot reveal happens in the game and big stuff happens and you finish the entire level. And then Karth was like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And then like Mission is supposed to talk next. And if she's invisible, it'll just sit there on Karth's idle animation forever. And you can't press skip because to go forward. You can't do anything to fix it, and reloading your save doesn't work either because because it'll happen every time. Because the only way to fix it is to go back hours ago and make Mission not invisible. But the way that the bug presents itself, you don't even know that that's what's causing it because you're seeing a cutscene for the first time, so you don't even know what's supposed to happen next. So yeah, and like early internet days with like no information about how what's going wrong, you're just fucked, and you have no idea what caused it, and you don't know how to. If you play the game again from scratch, you don't know how to fix it and avoid that bug, assuming it's even a bug you can avoid. And it's like So I never beat KOTOR till like this year.
I had an even worse experience with Vampire Bloodlines because I played it to like 5 or probably up to 5 times.
That was also a pretty buggy game.
Without any patches. I played it with about 5 times without any patches because I was trying to get past the game-breaking bug that doesn't allow you to finish the game.
That was a janky game when I played the fixed version.
Yes. Can you imagine what it was like? It was very much about you getting save every second because you're going to get glitched out of the sky and everything is going to, But there's a specific level where the loading screen never ends. And it's a known bug that happens to everybody. If you don't have a patch in Vampire Bloodlines, that you can't finish the game. Like the last 3 hours are basically done, and it's right after the big. Like,
so it's not even. So it's not even a niche thing caused by a specific thing. It's literally the game is literally unplayable for every player unless you fix this.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I went to that point like 4 or 5 times trying to, because maybe it was the clan that I was using, maybe it was the options that I made, maybe it was the weapons or something. I tried different things basically, and it always happened. And I never finished until probably 2009 when I realized, oh, there's patches. No, probably earlier than that. I think I had my internet connection at around 2007. I think it was somewhere around there.
You know, day one patches are trash. Anything. I always think about. Jake. You remember Jake, Andrew?
Wait.
He was in some of Unfairnament. He had the ponytail.
Yeah.
I always think about Jake when I think about certain kinds of games and the way they're released. Because like Jake was the guy that's like, what's Steam and stuff like that. Not the one from the other podcast that also did that.
Yeah.
But he thought that he was like dismissive of the idea of downloading games. Like he was like not engaged in like online things. Like for him, video games are you buy a video game console and then you buy a disc and you put that in the console. And the internet doesn't even like come into play in this whole thing. And I'm just thinking like there's and like that's his own weird monk behavior that he's put on himself for some reason. But there are people that just don't have good internet access or all these other sorts of situations that happen. And it's like if you put out a game that's broken in its launch state, there's always going to be some percentage of your audience that just is stuck with that version of the game. Like you can't just assume a day one patch will just clear all of your problems up. Like you're just fucking over a portion of your audience by having a day one patch that makes the game work correctly because you shipped a broken game. There's also like a depressing idea of like,
here's like poor people talk.
There's also like a certain depressing idea of like, here's my archive of all of my Xbox 360 games or whatever. Like the
none of them are playable if you don't have the internet.
Yeah, it's like the prototypical like it's like your big like gamer collection feel. It's like, oh, here's all my discs and all of their cases and all that, and it's like all of those are shitty versions of those games because they don't have the patches. So like those are all like the idea that those like no matter what happens, I still have my game is like kinda. You have like 90% of your game. Like even if there was no DLC ever, like they fixed the real version that's fixed and works correctly was released on launch day via patches. And if those patches ever go away, then it's like you just have this permanently gimped version of this game that you can never put back together again. It's like it's just a bummer.
That's one of the reasons.
Can you imagine somebody who like has the original, like who just buys one No Man's Sky.
It never patches it.
Yeah, like what do you do if you have the?
Because you can buy disc copies.
Yeah. If you have the physical version of No Man's Sky, you have an unplayable game that you just own.
Is it unplayable?
It's unplayable unless it gets patched.
I don't know if it's unplayable, but people hate it. At least.
But people hate it because they saw it on.
I mean, that it is literally playable and that it works.
Sure,
like you can play it. Because I'm thinking about like that's kind of an interesting idea. Actually, is that some games. Because I think we talked before about games as service and how like some games like World of Warcraft continually evolve forever, and they basically delete the previous game that you knew about from existence in various ways, sometimes in subtle ways and sometimes in less subtle ways. Like World of Warcraft, every time they change how a feature works, they make the version that had that feature before not exist anymore. But obviously in a big showy way, like something like Cataclysm literally takes the old map and replaces it with a new map. And it's like, that's it. You never get that one back again. Not until we add Classic WoW 15 years from now as a gimmick, as a gimmick subscription thing. But it is interesting to think to some extent as like the sort of silver lining to my complaint about the day one patches and whatnot is that like certain games that are live services that are unrecognizable now because of how much they've changed, even be they like stuff like No Man's Sky or whatever, if they have a disc-based console release and they don't have to be online to play them, like there's some kind of single player option, there's technically an archive. You can technically like re-access that old version in a legal way, and it's just sitting on your shelf.
Piracy is probably a better, more reliable way of getting that. I think, even for PC.
I'm just saying that it's just an interesting thought that like that stuff just exists, just sitting there. Like, oh yeah, I could just go back and play like Destiny 1.0.
The most interesting thing about
I probably can't actually. You probably can't play the game offline.
No.
The most interesting thing about the age of the internet in regards to keeping games as an archive or just having access to older games, I think the for sure like games, MMOs in general are harder, but it's not impossible to just save older versions of
because there's always those private servers.
But the thing that's the sneakiest thing about games and archiving them right now is that so many games are reliant on the shared experience of the game, like Pokemon Go or even like PUBG or
like if you miss the Pokemon Go launch and its big hype wave and like that specific social experience, then you'll never get that.
Yeah,
that's just gone forever.
And we have access to that. We have access to the game. It doesn't matter because the part of the game that was important was just not coded. It was the shared experience. Yeah. And it's the same with like the first weeks and months of the Dark Souls release or
when everyone doesn't know what's going on yet.
That sort of stuff is never like we can write about it and we have videos about it, but it's never going to be relivable. You just need to make a new one.
Yeah, you'll never, no matter how much you pirate and do things like that, you could never recreate the moment of like everybody standing on top of a skyscraper and saying goodbye to each other as Matrix Online is being shut down. Like there's just moments in time in gaming that are literal moments in time and never come up again, and you were there or you weren't.
I have a very picky attitude towards preservation in general. But in terms of video games, I think the thing with preservation of art in general is that it's very important, I feel. But we have to also realize that for thousands of years, all human art has been in the moment. Like music in particular, like centuries and centuries, there was no way of recording music ever. And what we have access to are just... No, history is different because we write about it, right? It's like history itself is just the writing. It,
but even that has ages to it, and also a lot of that's been wiped out and so on. I was just thinking about like how all of our entire idea of Norse mythology was entirely written down by Snorri Sturluson, and he wasn't even, and he was like a Christian monk. That's all we have. And I'm like, oh.
Shit. We have what is it? Zaratrustians? What's the one in like
It's just incredibly limited from like culture to culture. There's a lot of ones that either never had a written history or it was wiped out, and then it's like, oh, that's just gone. We just have half remembered recorrections of people that change the stories to fit their needs and so on.
I'm not saying the thing is, I'm not saying that we are going to forget. Of course, there will come a time where we don't remember video games, either through complete exhaustion of time and space, or because something happens. Something is going to happen, right? But what I'm saying is, right now we care about remembering the video games that we play, but and we care about remember the music that we listen to. And to draw the analogy towards music, for the longest time, people wouldn't care about remembering the music that they listen to. They would care about the players that would play it, and they would care about enjoying it at the time. And so the enjoyment of music was just fundamentally different. It's just art can be performative and still have value. And video games are not performative in the sense that they're accessible. It's like reading a book, right? It's not about somebody reading you a book. That's the difference between performative and just you have access to the art. But I think it's like it's like tabletop RPGs. Like, people spend hours and hours and hours playing tabletop RPGs and just for themselves, and that's very enjoyable. And nobody knows, nobody outside the group, obviously.
And even you have like Snapchat and Twitch, where they're their primary, most popular concept is, you experience this now while it's happening, and then it's gone. Yeah. And originally VODs either didn't exist or were temporary, and Snapchat was all about stuff just going away. Yeah, but the pure temporariness of everything, just the FOMO aspect, you see it now or never, was the core of the platforms. And so that kind of stuff still exists, and it has its own appeals. I can't. I can't. That's what I hate about Twitch is that I'm no, I need to keep everything I ever do, except for the parts I specifically don't want.
Just export it to YouTube as I do. That's what I do.
Or just be on YouTube where people want that content.
Oh, I'm afraid.
You're afraid to stream to your YouTube channel.
Yeah. Their interface is too bad. I can't. It's just too much stress. I'd rather have fewer viewers, but. I think the thing is, for YouTube in particular, is that people get so caught up, in very rightfully so. YouTubers get so caught up in the need to be constantly uploading, to be constantly on top of the trends, and optimizing for search engines and the thumbnail, everything that we do to optimize the return of our work. In that there's no room for thinking long term. It's worse than having no room. It's like you cannot think long term ever. It's all about the short term, because you don't know what's going to happen, and the algorithm is going to throw everything away anyway. So you need to work for today and tomorrow. And I have a channel that is 90% of my views come from old videos. And the videos I'm putting up right now, they're gonna be part of that 90%, and I know that because I say this. I think imagine you are also sort of similar to me, Keith, in regards to
most views come from old videos, because
we finish our playlists and we dedicate ourselves to certain games and to make something that is going to stay there for a while.
Well, yeah, it's people are surprised that I make a living wage, and part of it's just because the other half of that whole picture is Patreon, obviously.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's you look at my most recently uploaded videos, and it's those ones have a few hundred. That one hit 1,000. Wow. And it's then you hear about how people make $1 per 1,000 views or whatever. And you're how is he making a living? And it's well, I have 14,000 videos and they're all collecting views every day to varying degrees. And there's the longer you make content, the more you start to collect your handful of evergreen videos that are just kind of at month to month, they're always collecting a few thousand more views just indefinitely, and then you stack those all on top of each other, and you're so these all stack up until you have an income.
Yeah, basically. And that's why, but YouTube really doesn't want you to think like that for some reason, because even the dashboard, you go into analytics and it's telling me that I made my watch time is 1.2 thousand minutes less than usual. And I'm like, what? Like, my watch time is awesome. I'm like, what? 1.2 thousand in a 30,000 is nothing. It's like, what, 3-4%?
They want you to know exactly how anything is underperforming in any way compared to last time or whatever.
Yeah,
it's very important to them.
Yeah. And but the thing is, it's very easy for people to get lost in that because you have access to, for example, what parts of the videos people watch the most, so you can tell if they stop watching, or if they saw the thumbnail and clicked on it. They call it a certain thing. I don't remember the name of that. The click through rate, I think it's called.
Yeah. Impressions versus click through, which is like, do you come up when you come up in a search result versus how much they actually click when they see you. Like earlier, when people were searching Wasteland, Pillars of Eternity or Definitive Edition, it was like there's like 7,000 impressions and 3,000 clicks. Like, I could see it right there. I very much avoid the infinite well that is the data.
If you look at that,
like, what is the exact moment people stop watching? I'm like, nope, don't need that in my life.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. But the thing is, if you start looking at that, you can make some improvements, but you also it's more
useful if you're scripted, because then everything you do is a deliberate choice. If it's just you, it's like, hey, want a new insecurity? It's just judgment of you of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, YouTube is made for it's supposed to be made for every creator, so there are features you can just kind of, close your eyes to and never touch,
made for Let's Players.
It doesn't impact your overall content creation, because you're like, yeah, I mean, no way. Like, watch time is a really weird thing for Let's Players, because you can upload a video and someone might be watching to a point they haven't gotten to, and they're like, oh, I haven't gotten past that point myself, I'm gonna wait until I get past it, and then I'll come back and watch this video. And that metric isn't helpful for you then. And you're
especially for longer videos,
yeah, and there's a lot of those kind of things when you're doing specifically Let's Playing. Whereas, like Keith mentioned, if this is a scripted content, yeah, if someone clicks away like halfway through your scripted content, okay, you didn't make a good scripted content. But like that, you can change. You can actually go through and change it. Like, Keith can't change the way he records Let's Plays based on how many people have gotten to a certain point in a game, or because.
Yeah, well, even comments, like, a lot of the feedback is useless, because it's like, hey, can you be a different human being? I'm like, no. If you don't like it, I guess you should go away. And it's like, no, I'm not going to go away. I'm going to complain every video for like 6 months. I'm like, I'll ban you. And there we go. Problem solved. I don't have to see this bullshit anymore. That's a daily cycle.
I don't get much. What I get, I ramble a lot, and that's what I get sometimes when people are like, "This guy never shuts up," and I'm like, "Yeah, for 170 episodes,
this guy never shuts up."
Oh yeah, it's very common that people complain you're talking in the video, and I'm like, search, add no commentary to your search, you fucking child that doesn't know how to use basic functions.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, why didn't you just
It's like, what are you accomplishing by complaining to a channel? Like, especially one that has, like, thousands of videos and all these subscribers and, like, clearly has a platform and, like, they're designed, like, this is how my show works. It's like, oh, sorry, everyone. That one guy doesn't like that I was talking, so I'm going to stop talking in all my videos because he complained. It's like, what is that the outcome they're hoping for? Change all of your channel to suit me, the guy who didn't like it in the first place. It's like, no, go away. Just go away.
I think a lot of people misunderstand the idea of what constructive criticism is as a concept, and so some people think that
if you do anything besides just bow down and be like, yes, oh genius, you know everything about how to run my channel better than me. Thank you for your sage advice. If you say anything short of that, then they're like, wow, he just can't take any criticism. So it's very immature. I'm like, no, you're just a shithead. This was a rude comment and not a thing you should ever say to another human being. And I don't know what results you were expecting.
I think it happens less now. It used to be for, I think, 2017, 2016. It happens less
than me because they're all banned.
No, I think there was like this niche.
I lost patience for stupid, irritating people that don't have social boundaries and say stuff that's too rude to ever say to a human being. So I'm just like, and click, and click, and click. It's great. It's great. No consequences.
I think for a little while there was this niche YouTube style video that was about how to, make better YouTube content, like talking about the subscriber burnout or like better distribution of ads or stuff.
Subscriber burnout.
Oh, you don't know? It used to be. I don't think people.
It was one of the many things created. So game theory will every now and then make a video about YouTube itself, and then everyone takes it as gospel, especially.
Why would you listen to the guy who makes up bullshit on his channel? What is wrong with you?
Like, especially viewers, like more so than even the creators, the viewers like all believe whatever MatPat says about how the algorithm works or whatever. And everyone's like, what? You think you know better than him? His channel's bigger than yours. I'm like, that doesn't mean his theories are right. Because like no one knows how the algorithm works. No one knows the secret. But MatPat will basically post theories, which are pretty much all confirmation bias, in that he takes a result and works backwards from there. And then just like, I don't know, this explanation fits that. Maybe that's what caused it. And then he just makes a video about it because he'll know he'll make a bunch of money for making a video. And then everyone keeps quoting his stuff at you like it's real advice, and it's just like, you just go away, go away. You don't know what you're talking about, and you just. And I know, I've seen the video. You don't need to all say the same thing at me all the time. That's like the idea of like subscriber burn and a bunch of other things they say, and like he just whips out a new thing that's like half baked on a regular basis, and it's like,
what is? But okay, so sorry, explain to me, what is subscriber burnout? What the hell?
The idea is that YouTube will YouTube will suggest channels where the largest percentage of subscribers watch their videos. So if you have 1,000 subscribers and you regularly get like 500 views a video, that's better than if you have 10,000 subscribers and you get 500 views a video. And so the way for you to fight against that sort of perceived bias that Google supposedly is going to use is that you put up fewer videos so that the subscribers that you do have actually watch all of them, or a bigger percentage,
and never deviate from the format that they expect, because anything that is lower on views irreparably damages your channel in the eyes of the algorithm. It's just,
and I still hear people talk about things like that in those terms. I don't believe that is real, but I have an idea why I think, or rather, it's not just I don't think it's real. My perception is that subscriber count barely matters for anything. It's just
it's because people don't use subscriptions.
That too, yeah. That's
like, but fundamentally, that's the step one.
I don't think the algorithm cares for subscriber count, because you see often.
It's just how well your videos are doing.
Yeah, they need not even your videos in general.
Count is just like a semi-applied kind of effective mailing list, but the algorithm doesn't care about it.
Yeah. So like to think that you need, like I like 2 months ago I got a comment about. Like my videos usually get 100, maybe 200 views, and somebody saw my subscriber count at 25,000, and they were like, "This is what happens when you buy all of your subscribers." And I've been on YouTube going on for 6 years now, and I've been growing all the same by basically 300, 400 subscribers every month, and just getting the same more or less views, and that's it. Like, there's no perception by the general viewership. The viewers in general don't have any idea the effect that time has on the subscriber count, and people just think it. Get more subscribers, you got more viewers, but that's not true. It's just you've been there for longer. Because so many, especially now that, like, I think that is the issue, or part of the issue is that so many people suggest that you subscribe that a lot of people just subscribe like it's a like button and ring the bell like it's a like.
A lot of people are subscribed to like thousands of channels.
Yeah,
and and then you use the front page, and the front page just like it just suggests like a handful of videos that have been uploaded by the channels that upload the kind of stuff that you click on the most lately. And so, like, entire other channels that you technically follow, just get erased.
Completely, the front page is completely disconnected, even to your subscribed channels.
Like I think sometimes about this comment that said that he's been like subscribed to me for like 2 years now and has never actually watched a single video by me, and this is his first video, and I'm like, wow, you definitely don't use the subscriber page.
Yeah.
Like you definitely use the front page, because otherwise you could have not avoided my videos. Like it would have been like this endless flood of like what is my massive amount of content. So you could have only ever like been still subscribed to me that long if you just are subscribed to a useless number of channels.
That's absolutely right. I have unsubscribed from channels that I like watching every once in a while, but they just put out so much stuff that I just can't have my subscriber page have that much. So I just unsubscribe.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing.
I would never subscribe to myself.
If YouTube cared... If YouTube cared for the subscriber page, it would have like little tabs where you could just put, okay, these are all my gaming channels, so I can order them, and maybe I can unsubscribe from specific playlists so that you don't want to watch me play New Vegas. Okay, you unsubscribe from that, but you got all my other videos. There's so many features that they could make. They don't care. All they care is
they used to have those, not that feature specifically, but they used to have shows. So you could sort all of your things into shows, and they would be marked as being that show. Oh,
God. Shows were so cool.
And that opens up, it used to be like all of your episodes that you upload were like, this is season 5, episode 12, or whatever
we did that for our Xbox Live Indie Games. We created
that was a
seasons
feature that actually existed that they just got rid of one day.
They don't want you to have control over that, though.
Yeah, because if they had that feature, you could put stuff in a show, and then they could potentially add features that are like, hey, I do or don't want to watch this particular show and stuff like that. And then people could opt out of playthroughs that they don't want to watch preemptively, and
they don't want that control
better.
All they want is the results of the algorithm. The algorithm always knows best, and they want you to use the front page because that's 100% algorithm. They don't want you to have automatically added playlists because that's not algorithm. Like, look at this.
I'm under the impression that this isn't real. I think that there isn't an algorithm. Like, I hear this word so fucking much, and no one can just show up and say, yes, this is it. This is the algorithm. Like, no previous YouTube engineers. How it
works.
That's what I mean. So there isn't an algorithm. There's just a bullshit amount of string values. Yeah. And somebody somewhere just claps their hands and go like, it's doing its job. And no one thinks to check, is this real? Is it...
That's absolutely right. The entire company works towards that this machine that works off. It's like Facebook, basically. It's the same thing. It's just the age of the internet right now. Look at this. They added a feature where you have like a hashtag. If you add a hashtag to your description, you can click on the hashtag and you see all the videos with that hashtag. But they don't have a feature. This is when you are watching a video, right? You don't have a feature that shows you what playlists that video has been added to. So if you're watching a video of Keith playing Halo 4, you cannot click on the playlist of Halo 4.
What?
Do you know what I mean?
No. Sorry. What do you mean?
Like, go to a video, right? Like in our channels, and there's no those videos are in playlists, right? I don't know if yours are, but Keith puts his, right? So how do you have access to those playlists retroactively? If you open a video like episode 30 or something of a particular game,
you just have to pray that the YouTuber put a link.
Exactly,
because there used to be able to mark every video. For like, you could put them in multiple playlists, but you could say that this is its main playlist, which implied that it was linked to that playlist, and they never did anything. That's gone. Most features are gone.
And the thing is,
YouTube only is more complicated with fewer features on every level.
I didn't used to put the link of the playlist in the description, and now I put it the very first, like Keith does.
Yeah, because otherwise it's past these show more.
I saw an increase in view time of 10 to 15%.
Yeah, because it's like one of the smartest moves I've ever made.
Putting the playlist inside of the description.
Yeah, if you search for any game I've played before, almost every time the playlist is the top result.
Yeah,
over any of the actual episodes, even part 1.
For me, it's the same. Yeah.
It's the secret. I know all the secrets. I know 3 of the secrets, not all of the secrets.
It's basically to do the opposite of what YouTube wants.
It's just a theory. Yeah, people get really mad whenever I talk shit about game theory, but he irritates me.
Maybe they should never watch Game Theory, and then they would understand why you're talking shit about Game Theory.
He irritates me for the impact he has on YouTube as a whole with this kind of stuff, and the way that he does that stuff. But also he irritates me because I was a person that liked his content and just watched it get worse every week.
That makes it personal.
So I was also an old fan spurned. So he irritates me on multiple levels. It's fine. I'm not like, I don't like hate the human being or whatever. It's like, congrats on the charity stream and stuff or whatever happened this recent thing. I think they raised like a ton of money for some, I don't actually know that much about the charity stream that he did, but I forgot. But no, I don't like his channel. I just don't like his channel.
I don't think I've ever watched anything.
I don't like both the reach of his channel and like how it affects me as a creator, and I don't like the content he makes just as a viewer either. That was just exhausting. Because in the early days of Game Theory, which I originally watched on like, was it Game Trailers TV or like Screw Attack? I think it was on Screw Attack, not even YouTube.
I don't even know what Screw Attack is.
Yeah, like on Screw Attack, like I would watch like the Game Overthinker and Game Theory.
Oh, I remember the Game Overthinker.
Yeah, like on Screw Attack. Like YouTube was definitely a thing at that time already. But yeah, they were there instead. And yeah, it'd be like, it was just funny math questions a lot of the time. Like they would be like, who actually is faster? And they would like try to come up with a sense of scale of like, okay, how big are objects on the screen in the Sonic game versus like in the first Sonic game versus the first Mario game? And like, how tall is each character? Because then we can verify how fast they're moving based on the speed at which they move based from the perspective. And based on this math, we can verify that like, my God, despite Sonic being based entirely around speed as a concept, Mario is actually faster than Sonic in their first games. Crazy. Like that kind of silly stuff. And it was mostly just, it was like long, like often like either scientific or math related rabbit holes. And some of it was like well done, and some of it was like sloppy and messy, but it was just kind of funny that they're trying to prove a really stupid niche thing, and the answer will ultimately not make sense even if they're right, and so on, because of how silly this theory idea is. Then FNAF happened and ruined the entire channel. Because he was already, like, I'm sure he was already algorithm chasing to some extent, and it was kind of getting diluted over the years of just like watching the same content and watching it not be as interesting as it used to be, and so on. But then FNAF happened, and it became about like, he got all these views from making like lore theories, and he would make them on like a weekly basis, and then just all of his content started just being like these just asinine, just, I'm gonna like half remember like 3 elements of this game and filter out the 12 things that contradict what I'm saying. I'm gonna make a video presenting that this is what the thing is that's happening in the narrative, and if it like sounds snappy and crazy, then whoa, and everyone clicks on it, and then everyone talks about that as being the real story, and so on, and all that happens, and it was just I was just getting less and less engaged with that content because it was just so not very good. It was like a much worse Vati Vidya. And then he made Movie Theory, and that he genuinely broke me. He broke me with the launch. First of all, one problem it's called Film Theory. First problem with Film Theory is that's not what Film Theory means, so that's already a problem.
But it's also Game Theory is not what that means, so you know.
But Film Theory is just a much more like a really specific term that's well known already, so it's just irritating. But
and also it's applied to films rather, because Game Theory is not applied to games.
What broke me about was the Suicide Squad coming out. Because he hit a particular trend where it wasn't about the inspiration of a particular question and idea that he was really engaged with. It was algorithm chasing every week. So on Game Theory and Film Theory, he's always just talking about either a new release that just came out, or he's like preemptively talking about a thing that's not even out yet. Or if he can't,
he must have been doing Cyberpunk since August.
What? Sorry?
He must have been doing
the voice thing.
Oh, sorry. He must have been doing Cyberpunk since August.
Oh, God. I haven't been looking.
Since it's all about the things that are coming up.
But like, he'd also do like the CinemaSins thing, because CinemaSins do their algorithm chasing things. Whenever a sequel comes out, they do a video on the previous movie, like the week that the sequel's coming out, because then they get more views that way. Because that's also a really cynical channel. which I also watched devolve into being unwatchable over the course of a couple of years.
Also bad.
But like what broke me finally and made me unsubscribe from all of his channels, because I'm like, I had that moment of like, I can't handle this anymore. Like this is clearly a mistake. Was when Suicide Squad came out. He made a video about this like well-established theory that already existed, which is this idea. It's not even a theory. It's just a proven fact in universe. So it's not even a theory. Is that there are multiple Jokers in the Batman universe, and that was their way of explaining like the gangster Joker from the old movie. And the slightly older movie, the psychopath Joker from the more recent movies, and then like the hilarious funny man Joker from like the Golden Age comics and Golden Age movie and everything, and like those are incompatible characters to some extent, and so they're like canonically they're just different people, surprise, and like, and of course comic book canon's a mess, so like that's only sometimes canon, but you know it's in a real book. It's not like a fun theory. It's not like a crazy theory that he made up or anything. He spent a whole video 10 minutes long as a quote unquote theory video just explaining that. And then he's like, I wonder what Joker's gonna be in Suicide Squad. Like, will it be one of them or a new one or what? And then he made another video that was also 10 minutes long, again, because they're always 10 minutes long, when Suicide Squad came out the next week, just basically just saying the answer. And then just padding for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And like that
happens a lot.
It's so much algorithm chasing. It's just so cynical. Like every video ends with like the super end card tournament where everybody in the comments has to shout one of like different answers that are the answer of a poll, because it's just to get engagement on the videos, to drive the engagement up. Like he's so manipulative, and his videos are they went from being interesting to just being like, how do I get the most views this week? Like calculatedly. And I'm like, I hate it.
That I noticed that a lot as well in news channels. Every once in a while I go on binges just watching technology related stuff. And then every once in a while I find certain channels that I sort of more or less acquainted to by now, that just pad the video so much. Like the first 3 minutes usually are nothing and I just skip ahead. And then they just say the thing that matters. And then for the last 5 minutes, it's just them reiterating and just being, and I just cut the video. And you, after you watch a lot of videos, you start noticing exactly what they're doing. So, you know, there's nothing here for me.
Yeah.
It's
like how I was an early subscriber to CinemaSins, and like the whole reason why their videos are like everything wrong with movie name in blah minutes or less is because their videos used to be like 3 minutes long. And so like it was just these quick silly videos that had like a dozen silly observations or something, and it was like kind of low impact. Like it was just kind of fun, and it was snappy, and it was a quick video, and it was clickable, and it was easy to just be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll watch more of these. And then they just kept getting longer and longer because they're like, well, the algorithm prefers long videos. So they started making like 10, 15-minute videos, but kept the exact same format in every other way. And so they just fill that time by repeating the same memes and jokes over and over again in every video. And in many cases, just making stuff up. Like they'll just lie about the contents of the video of the movie, or willfully misinterpret it all to try to create sins just because they need more for their list.
One of the things that I think YouTube has been really trying to make sure people don't do as much is use the search function. And I've noticed that I've been noticing that for a while in my in the amount of views I get from certain videos that are either very well positioned in the search or very badly positioned. And 2020 has been like a year. And have you noticed more videos and more like style videos that are just people arrive there because of the algorithm? Like maybe it's the like these Indonesian dudes that make houses out of bamboo and and earth, or maybe it's just cats and it's cold and marmalade, or it's like, you know what I mean? Like there's certain channels that you go and look at their what is that channel? What is that YouTube? What's that site that allows you to see the stats of
Social Blade?
Social Blade,
yeah. You go and look at their Social Blade, and then they have these huge peaks of viewership, and then just go back to normal, because it's just the algorithm. It's basically the algorithm has become like one of those crappy YouTube channels where it's just chasing itself. Like, oh, everybody wants cat videos today.
It does definitely just sort of pick people every now and then to be like, that's the guy that gets views this month, and they'll be like, what's happening?
I think a lot of that actually comes down to external sources. I don't think that's YouTube doing anything. YouTube is too incompetent to actually create memes.
Oh, it's not on purpose. I know.
It's not even
algorithmically is it doing it. It's just like Reddit or 4chan or some kind of external website picks up a dumbass video and just throws it everywhere. Twitter gets it, Facebook gets it, everyone watches it, and then it peters out. Because like YouTube isn't very good at giving you its own content. It's not good at giving people content they want to watch.
It definitely happens with the algorithm itself sometimes too, though, where it's like this like machine learning beast where nobody knows how it works anymore, including the people that run it. And so like it's sometimes just out of nowhere, it just makes somebody. Like I think of like the channel James Somerton is he does a bit videos about like LGBT horror and other things like that. Like he talks about film history and so on. And specifically had a video called Monsters in the Closet, which was suggested to me and a bunch of other people. And then we look at it and it's like, oh, this video is taking off like crazy. And then before that, like 2 videos ago, his video had 1.6 thousand views. And that video now has 349,000 views. Like those 3 are separated by like only a few videos in his upload history. And it's because like that was the video where it took off like crazy, but it wasn't new is the weird thing too. Like he made it. It did like normal-ish. It sat for a while. And then suddenly the algorithm was like, this is the video I'm showing everyone today. And like, no one knows what's happening. And no one knows, like, there wasn't like a clear place that it was shared that seemed to explain like the traffic it got. And he even uploaded a video of like just his surprise of like, this is what's happening today, I guess. And then it just sort of changes the path, the career, like somebody's life path. Like, I guess is this happening? Am I going to become a full-time YouTuber? Like, because that just happens. It's a weird experience sometimes.
I think it must be super dangerous to like get swept up by that viral wave and then just sort of like drop everything and let's do this. Because I think it's not as solid as a long-term investment. Because you go into channels that even don't post too much right now, like Vsauce, they're still getting super amounts of views and they don't go viral. They get enormous amounts of views and they're there. And then they barely post any videos. And then on other channels,
they've just snowballed so hard that they don't have to be viral. Their base level is other people's viral.
Yeah, well, it's like winning the lotto versus having good investments. Sometimes you can just like have a lot of money and you're like, oh shit, I what do I do? And then you have people who have just been sitting there like over time crafting something, making money out of it, and then they finally reach a point where it's like, okay, I can live off of this now. And yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, there's other channels like Linus Tech Tips. I don't know if you guys know it.
Yeah.
It's their most popular. It's not their. I actually am looking now. It's not their most popular. It used to be their most popular video. Was from 9 years ago. Linus reviewing a sort of remote control fire truck for kids. Everything. It's a huge channel with an enormous team and like huge infrastructure that is reliably putting out content that is profitable about technology and televisions and graphics cards and computers. And then there's this little toy and it's their most viewed video reliably for a long time.
Oh, it can be really, like on Sad Games, our most viewed video was Andrew made the Incredible Hulk in Saints Row the Third's character creator before the game came out. It had like a demo character creator. And then he made the thumbnail like the nude model with the crotch pixelated out, which was just in game. Like it was just censored in game. Oh, so, okay. So it's just like from like mid abs down to knees is the thumbnail of just like a naked Green Hulk, and it has 313,000 views, which is 50% higher than anything else on the entire channel of Sad Games. And it's just like this random 30-minute no commentary character creator video that's not representative of anything on the channel. Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay, and yeah, you can just chase that algorithm because like we responded to that like, oh, should we just do that? Like we made a couple of other character creator videos as a joke because of that. So we did like in Skyrim, we have a character creator video of the Khajiit, 58,000 views. Saints Row 4, he made Batman, 156,000 views. It's like those are like the top 10, despite never making character creator videos and not being the content of the channel. In the top 10 videos, there's 3 character creator videos.
Yeah, it's the thing, like you need to be wise enough to not make it a point to, oh, this character, it's going to be my channel now, creating characters.
Yeah,
because you could. I'm sure you could do that.
That was the trick. We could have just been people who obsess over character creators and be like, look, I made Johnny Bravo in Final Fantasy 14 and just make that a video like once a week.
I've seen channels that do that.
And we could have been full timers 7 years ago.
But what an awful career choice. Like, I would never want to do that. That sounds.
Can you imagine the burnout?
It sounds like shit.
I wouldn't completely hate it. I mean, it's easy enough that you could just be like, this afternoon I'm going to try to make a cartoonish, silly character for my weekly video. And then you just
ideas.
But it's like it's the type of channel where you could just like, because it'd have to be not that freaking of videos, you could probably just take the rest of the week off.
Probably.
It's hard to get. It's hard to get burned out if you're making like one character creative video a week and then you just fuck off and play Overwatch for the other 6 days.
No, I mean, I probably would sit and I would make a month's worth of content in just in a couple of days.
Stop having a job the rest of the time.
And then, that's
the thing. There are definitely content creators out there that make relatively infrequent videos that just do super well, and they just like I want to see what their lives are like to some extent, because I think a lot of them just kind of just don't work that much.
Fuck off and don't do anything.
I do not believe that like JonTron is a real person.
That's always an example.
He doesn't do anything. What the hell does he do? He shows up like once in a blue moon and goes like, here's some videos, and like throws them at the poor people, and then just vanishes into his like weird ether state for the next like months until he shows up with more videos. Like, where the heck? What is your day?
There was this
what
little,
do you wake up
window
and do?
where his infrequent videos felt like they were tied to the fact that he had like a set now and stuff. It's like, wow, production values. But then you look at some of these videos and it's like, okay, there's one camera pointing at him sitting in this couch, and he just watches a video that's already funny and then reacts to it a few times, and then it cuts back and forth just between that video and his reactions a bit. And I'm like, you already have the setup of like the camera and the lights.
Those videos are so easy to make.
Yeah, like your visuals are already set, so you're not spending a bunch of time like R&Ding that shit. And it's not like you're scripting this carefully or putting a ton of, it's not a chamois video where it's fucking dense with incredible details that'll pick up the 6th time I watch it.
Just him.
It's really surface shit.
Like today, funny that you say that.
I'm so disappointed how many videos are just him like seeing something kind of funny and it's already funny, and so he's just using their content to make funny videos, and then his reaction is just like, whoa, crazy. I'm like, that's, the thing is, JonTron,
editing
used to
is
have
so
jokes.
powerful. Editing is so powerful that if like today was the first time I recorded a video that I knew in advance I was going to edit, so it was the easiest video to record. And I was sort of afraid of it because, you know, the way we do Let's Plays is where it's unedited for the most part. So we need to be on point for the whole video.
I frequently go to bed with the fear that like tomorrow I'll just forget how to commentate and then I just can't work anymore.
What does that even mean?
The imposter syndrome thing of like, I'll just like I don't know. Because there's a pressure of like, not only do I just perform live every day, even if it's not live, but it's live and that it just goes as a stream of like, it just goes. And like I every now and then I get crushed by the mental the thought of the fact that I do it for like 3 hours of video per day in many cases, and it's like, how the fuck am I doing that? I don't know how I'm doing that. What if I just can't do it tomorrow?
It takes a certain kind of person and talent to do this. The thing is,
that's why it's vaguely insulting when a JonTron video is like, he's just doing what I do but for like 15 minutes and then he edits that and then he fucks off for a month or 6.
The thing is, if you need to edit, you don't need to be on point. You can say the lame jokes and you say the jokes different times if you didn't say it
you can say every stupid thought that comes to mind and then just cut out all the ones that aren't very good. And just edit,
especially if you have somebody else doing the edited like he does.
I don't know what the lives of large YouTubers are like. I'm really confused by them.
The easiest lives, unless they're like Philosophy Tube or something, and then there's the hardest.
No, those are still probably easy lives.
He works so hard.
They research.
Does he?
Yeah.
If you talk about like a lot of these, like if you talk about like ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube and stuff like that, like they have this it's a completely pre-scripted video. And it's like they have to do who knows how much like crazy amount of research to actually prep for all that before they even write it. And like they have their citations and all that. And then they go on through like the set. They have like the set design and the production value there is like JonTron times 1,000. And then
you
like
and the delivery,
actual
like
comedy.
they put the bloopers at the end sometimes, and you just tell like that those are like the third or fourth time,
well,
and they're a professional actor.
Well, the biggest one is H Bomber Guy, which is the fucking chamois of left tube channels, because those videos have a lot put into them. Like there's just so much editing and density and jokes to it. Like it's just a lot.
Yeah, H Bomber Guy does post fewer videos in comparison to.
Oh yeah, no, those aren't going to come out.
Seems like easy work.
I don't know, because the thing is, the quality, like when you make just not bad, but passable things, the pressure isn't there. So if you work like 5 hours a day on something that you're sort of okay with, but it's not like the best thing in the world, it's 5 hours a day working on something. Okay, when you make something really good, the pressure must be so enormous. The pressure, dealing with the pressure alone, is like half the work. Like, especially if you're somebody,
all the talented YouTubers are younger than me now.
Probably, yeah. I mean, that's usually how it works, right?
That's not usually when you're young. It is.
I was on Twitter the other day, and my heart sank because
like
the most brutal thing that could have happened, which is that Shammy just posted the number 25. And I'm like, oh no.
Because that's how old he is now.
I'm like, he can't be 25. That means he made the Overwatch video when he was fucking 23. He made the fucking what was it? Is it the Surge? Oh god, he made the Surge video when he was 22 years old. Like one of my most watched videos on YouTube, because it's just really fucking entertaining. He was 22 years. That's not allowed. That's not okay. I don't need that.
Isn't H-Bomber Guy also like 20 something?
He's probably younger than me, but not as drastically.
I know PhilosophyTube is like 26 or 27.
Oh yeah, he's born in 1990. Yeah, he's 28. H Bomber Guy. He's born in 1992. He's my brother's age.
Younger than my brother.
Yeah, he's younger than my brother.
all these babies making videos.
I can deal with 2 years. 5 years is rough.
I mean, just wait 5 more years. It's gonna be 10.
Especially when I'm like, oh god, they're 5 years younger than me. But the video that I think about a lot is 3 years old. So that means they were.
How do you think I felt when I was like?
They were a tiny child.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of I always assume that the younger people will always be more successful.
I don't think that's necessarily the case on YouTube.
When it's
not? Like in a when it's like
they're more likely to be creating content that appeals to the majority of people on the platform, which is their age group.
But that hasn't historically been the case, though.
Like if you think back to the
90s,
but that's because historically the tools to make the stuff was not accessible to the youth.
They can say lip in a cringe way.
But that's why I was gonna say it doesn't like the successful where. If it's on YouTube, then maybe.
Yeah, successful. Yeah, on YouTube. That's what I mean.
But I can think
they're successful in TikTok. They're successful on Instagram. They're successful. Younger people are always going to be more apt to be successful on social media sites, because the people that are most likely going to be congregating on those social media sites are younger people. So it's easier for them to relate. You can have like an old, like decrepit asshole show up and like make content that people like, but that doesn't mean he's going to be successful, or doesn't mean he's not going to just be immediately usurped by a young person doing a crazy dab on a skateboard flying over the Golden Gate Bridge.
I think you need to, like what you're describing, you're saying the right things, but you're missing the point that you're making yourself. What you're saying isn't that it's harder for older people to be successful. You're saying that there's more young people, and that's why we have so many young people being successful. I think that's what is happening. It's just there's fewer older people. And like honestly, I think,
or in particular, just younger people can appeal to younger people. Just naturally,
I think there's just more younger people
in certain ways, where older people have to do it more cynically.
Yeah, and another thing too is older
Let's players that have like bright rainbow thumbnails, and they're behaving in like a very strange way to attract like the children viewers to them, and so on. And
I don't
no swearing, and this is all kind of a kids show, and so on.
And another thing is like, the older you get, the harder it becomes to keep it up. Like you really have to be making money, or else you're not going to make it. And I mean make it in like reality. Like
younger people are in many cases in a window where they're reaching the end of their school career, and they're still in this window where they have a decent amount of free time where they can get away with putting a lot of time into something special and try out the whole YouTube or internet thing before they have to like sign away all of their daytime to like making rent.
Yeah,
that's how I started.
Come to Portugal.
I was 21. I was 21 years old when I started YouTube with Andrew, and like I was second half of college, and I didn't really have the same expectations of like to spend my entire day away to a job and so on. So I was like, let's try YouTube, and then kind of slow burn, but like 5 years later, it was suddenly a job.
It's the point about making a living on YouTube is it's a little bit fascinating. Well, it's not fascinating. Is not the word. Like the cost of living, the cost of life in YouTube towns like Seattle, for example. There's a lot of YouTubers in Seattle or San Francisco. The cost of living there specifically is so enormous, in comparison to here in Portugal, for example. If you have you can get by with $700 or $800 a month here living.
I could do so much better. Like one of the tricks, even within the United States, one of the tricks is that like if you have an internet job, your pay doesn't scale based on expenses and whatnot. Yeah. Like if you get a job with a particular company and like but you work in particular parts of the country, you might have a different level of pay based on what like the scale is of like, are you living in like North Dakota or California? Yeah. Like there's different expectations of pay. But if I just moved to North Dakota, I just make more money because I'm making the same money, but losing less of it because I don't live in California. It's the question of, do I want to have a better budget, or do I want to actually be in contact with the people I've known my entire life?
Yeah.
The problem is that I've always lived in California, so it's like, do I want to just say goodbye to everybody?
Fuck. My thing is, if I'm gonna move somewhere, it has to be better in terms of climate, access to internet, and like
cakes.
Politics.
Come to Portugal.
Yeah.
And so the problem,
nice.
Well, that's the problem. Is like, no, I can't go to Portugal.
Why not? We got healthcare. We got internet.
But I don't enjoy the standard language. I don't enjoy your default language.
That's a problem.
And I could not live in a place where people are saying a language I don't want to hear. That just sounds awful.
You can pretend it's like Russian because it sort of sounds like Russian. And
that doesn't make it better. I also hate Russian. That's my second most hated language in the world.
It's so lovely. It's such a lovely language.
I hate Russian.
Is Portuguese your third?
Mine?
Yeah.
No, I was like, they don't speak. Because I was like, to be clear, they don't speak Spanish.
They don't speak Spanish. That is
Spanish is the language.
That's why I don't want to live in Spain either.
No, Spanish is very different.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like Portuguese. It sounds like Portuguese, but only to the
trained ears.
You've heard
only
Lucio.
to those who understand it. Lucio? Oh yeah, I can't understand what Lucio says.
I don't recognize anything
speaking Brazilian Portuguese,
and I've heard a bunch of Spanish.
So that's a third difference.
Right, because there's two Portuguese and there's two Spanish.
Yeah.
There's Spanish is similar.
There's the American continent, Spanish and Portuguese. Yeah, in Mexico and Spain, they speak very differently.
I thought there's three different Spanish.
It's like
South America Spanish is also very different.
But I'm saying like it's a much bigger gap than it is between like us and England, for example.
Oh, yeah.
There's a way bigger language barrier between Spain and Mexico, I think.
I think the biggest language barrier for English is like English and Scottish.
It's just confusing slang.
Where you're like, okay,
Scottish
you're
is
kind of saying the same things, but I don't think you're saying them right.
I love it. Scottish is the best thing.
I think it's like really
is a challenge.
Scottish is disorienting as an English speaker. You're like, wait, you said a word, and they're
specifically Scottish people speaking English because as opposed to like Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah, as opposed to speaking Scottish.
They pull a canay on you and you're like, what?
Because in Ireland it's called Gaelic.
No, it's got a name. I don't know the name.
What is the Scottish language called?
I follow a Twitter channel.
Probably every time it's Scottish language and Google says English. No.
No.
They call it Scottish Gaelic.
It's called...
Oh, there we go.
The one I found says Scots is a West Germanic language.
Yeah. Sorry, Scots language is
I've
the
never
second
heard of
most
Scots.
spoken
That's
language.
Interesting.
Scottish Gaelic is third. English is the most
also known as Lowland Scots. Scottish Gaelic.
One.
Yeah,
that's the one that I remember.
Albes Buela Galda.
Yeah,
that might be the real the in-language version that I mispronounced.
When I hear Irish, German, and Scots, I guess, those are the every time I hear those languages,
Scots. I love it.
Every time I hear those three languages, my brain does the caveman SpongeBob face, where I'm like, I think my brain goes I'm supposed to know this, right? They sound they sound close enough that I should know what they're saying, but I can't figure it out. And it's a
lot of it I think has to do with as you're learning a language, you develop specific phonetics that you process, and that's why it's so hard to learn languages once you're no longer a child. And it's why people can struggle so much.
Cram it in them when they're young.
Pronounce it this way, and then that back and forth pronunciation thing that happens with people, where they keep trying to get them to pronounce it right, and they keep never getting it right, and it's because they're literally not processing the same parts of the word
because you're not paying attention to the bits that are important. You're just paying attention to some other, even Japanese, which is relatively simple. It's hard for English speakers.
Oh yeah, it's so hard for me to process Japanese and recognize phrases. Or even
because your brain is just not going at the speed that your mouth is going a lot of the time. That's because you're not used to it.
That's why I can't speak it. I cannot speak or read Japanese, but I can understand it. If someone says it to me, I'm like, oh, I know what you said, but I can't say it back to you because I can't speak it well.
It's the comprehend languages spell from the end.
So it's such a strong dialect difference that you just hit people that are speaking English, but their tone and pace and their emphases are all different, and they hit every vowel slightly differently to the point where there's just too many differences hitting you too fast that you literally can't latch on anymore. And you're like, I actually don't know what they said. It's when you hear people talk about watching Attack the Block with subtitles because they can't understand what they're saying in it. And it's sometimes. So, I was able to watch Attack the Block just fine, but I've seen other stuff from England and whatnot where I'm just I lost it. I didn't catch what they said at all that time.
Scotland, they use a lot of shorthand as well. English has that a lot, you know what I said when I said but for somebody who has never heard this, what the hell does mean, or whatever I did, you know what I mean? And the thing happens with Scots, and specifically with words, the nay for me confused me for the longest time. The not, instead of being not, it's nay, and the anything is also different completely, and. But I love it. It's the thing is, I'm listening to it, and then those words drop, and I just stop and marvel at those words, and everything else that comes after. It goes right over my head because I'm just still thinking about, But the difference between Portuguese and Spanish is pretty big. So I don't know.
And then you have the bigger divergences where you hear someone say "dine can," and you're like, "Oh, they didn't know." Okay. Fuck.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Those entire words that just don't exist here, and it's not necessarily slang. It's just because they're really foundational words that they say constantly, and that say "dene." I'm like, what? Mm-hmm.
That's it
has a spelling and everything.
It's weird. Yeah, but I would if I could, I would love to live somewhere cheaper. It'd be great.
Yeah,
I hate living in one of the most expensive states in this stupid United States.
Yeah, over time it'll become more likely because I think most of my extended family is planning on moving, and they're all planning on moving to different places. Ooh, so at some point the choice will be made for me, and I'll be like, well, there's almost nobody here now anyway. So
yeah.
I keep thinking of people who bought a house earlier in 2000 in this year, just to be closer to family, or to be closer to places of early in the year, in March, there were people on Twitter being like, I bought a house so I could go to bars, and then 2020 happened, and
I bought a house so I could go to bars.
People, if you live in the middle of nowhere and never have any social life, and then you need some social life, and so you relocate. But if you pay more, that's got to be a pain, right? Because it's everything.
That'll be another one of the pushes and concerns when I if I get my own place and whatnot, there's the idea of like, hey, would you like to try out Crushing Loneliness for a trial? See how that one goes for you.
Get a pet. It's easy.
It's interesting just thinking like, oh yeah, I've literally never lived alone. Ever.
That's crazy to me.
In my entire life.
That's crazy.
I haven't either.
I think never lived alone. There's always been other people living in the same house. I've also never lived in an apartment.
I could never live with people again.
Like, I grew up in suburban houses, and then even when I quote unquote moved out, I just moved into other people's suburban houses because there's like a whole like cottage industry of new homeowners that are close to my age that just rent out the rooms to other people close to their age because who can afford a house anyway without that trick? And so like, so a lot of people like me live in suburban homes, but it's like, it's not my suburban house, but I'm also not like renting the house. I'm like paying for one room of the house. But it's a very cost-effective way to become a YouTuber. It's cheaper than apartments in California are.
Yes, very much. It's I don't know. I really like the loneliness. It's nice and quiet. So I don't know. I've lived with people before, and I mean, I obviously also grew up living in a home with people, and I just cannot stand it. I cannot stand being around other people, having to be delicate about their feelings and situations, and just like I just want to.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I just want to wake up and live my life. I don't want to have to think about other people and deal with that.
Yeah, I feel like the dream situation is to go back to like when I was 10.
God.
And that my best friend lived next door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, like my own house, but also people are like right there. Like that's the dream. Is like
I would love to go back to like
easily accessible friends where they live like really close and not like, yeah, we ended up moving to the same town, but it's like a 40-minute commute to meet your people, you know? It's like, oh, I don't like that.
I think there's some hobbies that lend themselves a little bit better to that sort of, to maintaining that sort of attitude wherever you live. Like riding a bicycle, for example, is really good because you just meet so many people and you can just organize and go out whenever they go out. Or
everyone just has their own concessions. Like, for example, like will Stephanie and Andrew ever meet? Well, we live about 2 hours apart and both of them have dogs. So that's one obstacle.
I mean, it's probably more likely than, say, like me and Bird ever meeting, which would probably be very unlikely.
You had a chance and you didn't take it.
I did, but that's the thing.
I invited you. I was like, come. I'm going to Berkeley as he visits somebody in Berkeley.
Berkeley.
That was your one chance.
And I have to get my birth certificate in Berkeley, and it's awful every time.
I awkwardly waited in a secondhand bookstore and pretended to be browsing for like 20 minutes while I was waiting for him to arrive because I didn't know where to go to like wait because I was the first one that was there, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't like just staring into space or awkwardly making contact. Like if I'm left in a place to just wait, I will keep accidentally making eye contact with people, and I hate it because I'll just be looking around. So I'm like, no, I'm just going to look at all these books. Oh, there's an entire Kurt Vonnegut section. And I'm just like, sure, hope you arrive soon. Because I also just can't pretend to care about my phone for that long.
People, they make eye contact with you?
It's just you look around. You're looking around the room because it's like, oh, what's this room? It's interesting. And there's like a bunch of people.
And they look at you?
Some people browse or some people are waiting in line. And like I have this art where I perfectly make eye contact with basically everyone. And it's a curse. That's weird. I don't want it.
I'm thinking, like, I've never had that problem. We always
meet at the same time or like that exact timing where I look at them and exactly when I look at them, they look at me. And it's like, crap, they think I was staring at them. But literally that was when I looked at them in the first place. Like, I couldn't even retell you what they look like in detail. But I do know that they think that I was staring at them now. Or that's how I feel because I'm very awkward all the time.
Yeah, I think it might be a perception thing. Yeah, because you're saying that, I'm like, that happens to me. That's true. I just don't care.
Yeah, no, it's the endless fear that like if anyone laughs near you, you think they're laughing at you. Like you think you are like such an profoundly awkward person that everyone is aware of how awkward you're being the entire time you're standing in the room.
You need to buy weird jackets.
Weird jackets. Then I know they're staring at me.
Yeah, that's right. It's the most liberating.
You just gotta wear a leather jacket that says "Pussy Wagon" in pink stitches.
Just a little bit too much. I'm just thinking
it's like leopard print or something. Just
that's what I'm thinking.
Bullshit.
I had that problem at a bar where I went to a bar and I was wearing a really comfortable leather jacket. And it's like, it's not anything crazy. It's just a nice, form fits weather jacket in the middle of winter. And so I'm just hanging out there, or not hanging out. I'm just interacting with people I knew at this bar. And I don't like being at bars because I have to keep track of everybody and it's exhausting because I don't.
You have to. Why? What?
Because I don't trust any. I don't like being in really crowded spaces with people I don't know because I don't trust them. So I like start paying attention to where everybody is and focusing on where they're going.
I see what you mean.
And and I had someone do that where I was ignoring. I pretend everyone doesn't. I don't acknowledge anybody saying anything, but I just keep track of them. And someone was constantly trying to get my attention. And I just wasn't aware of it. And eventually they come over and grab me and forcefully get my attention. And what do you, how do you interact with that? And so my immediate reaction is to just acknowledge anything they say. It doesn't matter what they're saying. I just acknowledge it. Just yes, 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 to get them to go away. Like it's a salesperson. And the
were
person
you listening
was
to what they were saying?
No. I was not.
I'm just
saying, yeah. And so they start taking me away from the table. I'm like, what? Wait, what's going on? Sorry, I was
why would you not be listening to them? I'm confused.
Because it's a social awkward thing where I get so nervous. I don't want to interact with you.
You go deaf?
No, it's. I know that if I acknowledgement causes people to feel satisfied, and so they will leave. So most of the time, people are asking something like, "Did you see that?" Yes, I did. And it's like, okay, and I can just move away from that. I can just move. Yes is a great way to get out of stuff.
No is the greatest way.
No is so in a bar. If you say yes,
multiple answers that fit different situations, and they're all contingent on you listening to what the person said.
No, now see that's the problem. And so
that's the problem. Yeah.
Any case, that's my social awkward thing, and the end result was this person I didn't know thought I owned a motorcycle because I was wearing a leather jacket. And so they wanted me to take them for a ride on this motorcycle I didn't have. And so the solution was they were very drunk. They were very, very drunk.
Oh, okay. They're just so drunk. So I just think that they could just accost random people that own vehicles to be let me in.
And so the people I was with were leaving anyways. And so I was like, okay. So I helped this person down the stairs. And then I told them, you should go to the bathroom first. It's, you don't want to have to go to the bathroom on a bike. And they're like, oh, that's a good idea. And they went to the bathroom and I just left. And that was was the way I got out of it.
That was good.
But so I understand the
he just left.
Well, what am I? I'm not going to wait there and break it. And oh, by the way, I lied. I didn't have a bike.
That's usually my first step is leaving.
Drunk people are the worst.
Once we hit X number of people I don't know in a room, I usually just try to leave.
Yes, that's a great philosophy to have.
I could totally go to a tabletop night with 8 of my friends and then 2 new people and I'll be fine. But if it's I go with one person to a room full of 30 people I don't know, I'm like, can I opt out of this entire plan? I'm going to be miserable this entire time.
Yeah.
It's the time I tricked you to coming to something because I was I'm going to be alone in a place where I don't know anybody. And then it worked out karmically because your power was out. We found out when we got home. So you would have been miserable if you hadn't come.
That is true. We were miserable when we got back because
then I drove home. I was like, bye, enjoy no power. I saved you from 3 hours of this.
I don't do well in most social situations, but I mean, that's not true. I only do well in social situations if it involves other people's parents. That's it.
You do well in those.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
There's just a familiarity aspect.
I don't do anything characteristically different. I don't I'm not some kind of I don't go in there doing hand and knee waiting.
It's just the family of people is approachable
or something. Some people. And it's not me. I'm not the one. I get along well with them. The other family members are oh, that's a nice person. Did I talk to them? What did I say to them to make them think that? That's
oh my god.
Maybe you didn't act as a jerk. That's the reason. They're so used to
Do you process all of your social interactions in like a fugue state where you're not conscious of what's happening, and then
pretty much I kind of just work my best?
You're Mr. Robot again. You're more Mr. Robot. You literally have a different personality that takes over in social interactions and handles it for you, and you don't even know what happened.
It's that, and yes, that is true. That is very true. That I would agree.
That's why you hated that show, because it was just accurate about you.
Except for the part where we lived in a major city. I've never lived in a major city because I don't want to be around that many people. That's so awful. Who would do that?
You're at your current cap for that?
Yeah, like right now, it's already like this apartment complex has too many people. I need to move. I'm trying to find a place to move because I cannot live with this many people.
You want to move
me.
to a cabin?
I want to live in like the middle of the woods where no one is, and I want to walk outside and people can go, there's no one there. There's no one to go. That's the best part.
That's the life. I want to do that.
There's no one to say anything because there's. I
want to do that as well.
Infinite void.
But how do you live there? Because there's no freaking internet.
That's the problem.
I just want to move to whatever town I have the most friends in already, which is not good. Because right now it's Seattle. And that's not good. That's much more expensive than California.
Yeah.
Like, my thing is, look, why do I have to know 2 people in Seattle? Why is that how the math works out?
I'll say this. If I win the lottery, I'm going to run fiber into some random poke-doke town, like city, or not the village.
It's just going to be a log cabin in the middle of the void of Nevada.
There's going to be some random ass town that maybe like 2 people live in, and we're going to get the fastest internet available because I'm going to take all my money and invest it in wiring it up.
There's going to be creepypastas about like where this phantom like fiber cable goes deep into the desert, but like every time a YouTuber tries, they always die before they reach its destination because it's so far in the nothing.
There was like I saw a video of some place was like, oh, there's this part of town where like if you drive past a little bit through the woods, it comes to a clearing, and there's another like smaller town where there's like 5 or 6 homes. But no one can go there because the people there are violent and they don't want new strangers there. And I was like, and the first thing I thought was like, how do I get in with them? How do I make them like me? Because I want to live there. I want to live in their cult.
How do I join them?
Yeah, like it's join their cult. Like these kids drove in there to do like a TikTok video where like, haha, we're gonna have fun and go see this weird town, and they like 5 minutes after they start, they're like, we're running now because there's a car chasing us, shooting at us. It's like, sign me up. I want to live in that town. That is exactly the response I want to people showing up. I want them to go away like immediately.
And that's why I'm never going to the US.
And they just they just get away with that.
Well, who?
There's like,
what, you're going to send the cops over to check it out and they're going to shoot you because you showed up? Like, the cops are like, there's no crime happening between them, and they don't come out of the town to commit crime, so there's no crime happening. It's like basically the city's view of it is like, they don't commit crime, and they don't commit crime with each other, so they're not a problem. You're the problem for going to them. Don't go to them. Like, if you just, it's like an Amish community. Leave them alone, and there won't be problems. It's perfectly fine. They're not
the closest thing I've had to that is once so I was a cyclist when I was like from 13 to 17 years old, and so it was like amateur racing for kids. And I went to this, I don't know where it was. I don't remember. I think it was close to Spain. It was like in the border of the country. And so in the middle of the mountains and stuff. And there's this phenomenon that happens in certain areas where there's like geomagnetic forces underground. And so, and usually it's in the mountains. So there's some parts of the mountains that are very difficult to traverse for cars and for anything that's like iron and magnetic. And like the cars just wouldn't go up that mountain very easily. They would get very slow. And we went up that mountain in the bicycle because it was, we were racing, and so we were doing our thing. But the cars all went around because they didn't, it would be hard for them to go up. It was just a little bit. But at the top of that one mountain, it was like 5 miles up, maybe not 5 miles, 3 miles up. There were these houses. They were all weird. And at the end of the race, I asked I don't remember who I asked, it's been like 20 years now. But I don't know. They just talked about how there were people that lived up in the mountain that they just didn't talk to them. But they weren't that far, like, from civilization. They were just like a few miles up the mountain. And there's the weird houses in the middle of a mountain that cars couldn't go up. It didn't shoot at us. And they probably had cakes.
They probably had cakes.
Everybody has cakes.
This is an aside, but I just discovered a new feature on YouTube.
Just now?
And I don't know if it's new, but I've never seen this before. So we'll see. I'll see if you guys have heard of this before. Andrew's the most likely because he uses the front page. I'm on the front page of YouTube, and like every 10th video I highlight, it tells me why it's being suggested to me.
Yes. Yeah, it goes like, oh, you're watching this because you watched this video, and they're like,
yeah, like this one. It's like a Netflix feature or something like that. I think is where I've seen it before.
Oh, it doesn't happen for me.
You get like a column of like, you like this movie, so here's a bunch of things. Yeah, it's like getting carried to 4700 by ML7 by Yeatle, and it says SVB viewers watch this channel.
Yes,
when I highlight
it's like
the bottom of the thing says that, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've never seen this before. Like it's suggesting Todd in the Shadows, and it's like Quentin reviews people watch this channel, and then it suggests Strange Aeon, and it's like Curio viewers watch this channel. I'm like, this is interesting.
YouTube thinks you're looking for new content because it doesn't show any. I'm scrolling down on my main page. None of them have that, but I've seen that happen. Yeah,
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
I think YouTube thinks you need a new channel.
The front page always suggests a bunch of people you're not subscribed to. It's just I've never seen it explain why it's suggesting some of them. It's really weird.
My front page only shows things I've watched. I haven't seen
a lot of it is like, hey, you watched this video 2 years ago, and like it just suggests videos back to you again, which is annoying. But there's a lot of channels that I'm not subscribed to that it's suggesting that I've also never watched. But then there's a decent chunk that it's like, it just tells me outright, like I'm suggesting that you watch this hamster video of Hammond because you watch SVB. That's why. I'm just telling you. I'm like, that's new. That's all right.
Do you know what? Something that they removed from what you used to be able to do? Remember how you could go into your watch history and delete videos?
Yeah, is that gone?
Can't do that anymore.
No. That used to be the way, like, oh god, I clicked on one video and they keep suggesting stuff based on that, but I hated that video and I hate everything that they're suggesting because of it. So you're like, I want to wipe it from my own history, so they stop.
Can't do that. You can pause the watch history. You can clear all watch history.
You can pause it, so it stops gathering.
Yeah,
I think that's probably
and you can clear all of it.
Yes.
I don't trust that button. I feel like the algorithm won't let you forget.
No, okay. So when you press that button, it's more of, it just wipes your search history in terms of YouTube recommending stuff. So like when you click on the search bar at the top and you type in like whatever, it will try to go based on things you've previously searched before first, and then it will try to go for new stuff.
Ew, they suggested film theorists.
And so,
don't recommend channel.
Actually, I take it back. If you click on manage all activity, it takes you to your Google account, not your YouTube account. Google.
Well, because it
took me for my actual email account rather than my brand account, because for some reason Google has two accounts for the same email. So it was like showing me history from 5 years ago. But you can actually manage. You can still delete individually, just on a different page now.
I put my YouTube channel into a funky fun triangle where I sign in. I don't sign into the Sad Games channel via its email. I sign in with my own personal email and added my personal email as a owner of the channel.
Yes.
Because when they did the whole thing to Google Plus was you could either say it was your own personal channel or like a brand. And so I said it was a brand. Why it
shows up for me, yeah.
Yeah, and so I said it was a brand. And so I don't log in directly with the email that I use to sign up for Sad Games. I just log in with my personal email. But I use Sad Games as my main, like, that's the main account that I use to watch videos and stuff, is the Sad Games one. And so I have a subscription for YouTube Music that I use, so that way I can watch or not watch. So I can go on walks and listen to YouTube videos with it, with the screen closed. And so because I did that, it signed up to my Sad Games channel, not my personal email. So when I try to listen to YouTube music, I have to log in directly with the Sad Games channel, because if I do it with my personal, it goes, you don't have a YouTube music account. And I go, yeah, but the channel I manage has one. It goes, yeah, but you're not logged into that. You're logged into that. I'm like,
not integrated.
Wait. Yeah, but if I go to YouTube Music, it shows me logged into Sad Games, but it doesn't give me the premium option. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
What the hell? How did you mess this up? And it's like, well, because you didn't log in directly. And it does this with my, I got like one of those free Google Home things. And if I say it's literally attached to my personal email, but I told it can access the YouTube Music through my Sad Games email. And so when I say, okay, whatever, play my music, it goes, okay, playing music for your personal account. I'm like, no, play it for I have a subscription on YouTube Music for this account that's signed up to that's attached to this thing. Play it from there. It's like, yeah, but the device is registered to your personal, so I'll only play music from that personal.
My God.
I hate that devices seem to be assigned to particular accounts, and it feels like it's like either unfixable or just way harder than it should be. Like, it's not just a simple like click log out and log in. Like my phone seems to permanently use its own, like it made a YouTube account for whatever email address that my phone was attached to, and so I can just never. It seemingly can just never be the email address the YouTube account I actually use outside of my phone. And it's like it's so weird, because I watch like one video on my phone every like 3 months practically, because it just never comes up usually. And my suggestions are so strange, because it keeps giving me push notifications for a suggestion on like a daily basis, and I can't turn them off. And they're like the strangest suggestions, because I probably was like at some kind of gathering or something, and there was some reason to look something up, and the thing I looked up is like the only thing I watched in like 3 months. So they'll be like incredibly fixated on like some hyper specific thing of like a band I don't like or content I would never watch, but it's my own account, and but the algorithm's that far off of what it thinks I want to watch, and it's notifying me, and I'm like, I hate it. Let me log into my real YouTube account.
I think your phone might need some new phone. My YouTube notifies
I need a new phone for several reasons.
Like I never get a notification on my phone from YouTube.
Just make it more complicated. Get a Google
I got my phone when I was newly self-employed, so I was literally asked, "What's your cheapest phone?"
Oh yeah.
So it's not aging great. My Pokemon Go frame rate has always been trash, which makes the throw not feel good.
Well, at least it plays. My phone, the whole phone I had when I started doing YouTube was an LG. Was a Motorola G2, the second one, and that thing cannot play Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it doesn't do that.
It can be a struggle.
Here, I'm going to send a picture of a perfect in the podcast. That is exactly, so that's how confusing it looks. And by the way, I have a YouTube channel for my personal email.
Oh.
But it doesn't show up. Like I have to like log out and log back in. And then when I log in, it goes, okay, which channel do you want to touch? And I have to like click the other channel. And then it goes like, okay. And then I can never reach Sad Games again. I have to log out, log back in. Then it goes, oh, which channel do you want? Then I can click Sad Games. It goes, okay, but I can never touch my other channel again. It's like, why are you like this?
I found the way I use my 2 accounts for YouTube is I have an extension for, I don't use Chrome, but it works for Chrome as well. It's called Session Box. And basically what it does, it's like a different, it's like you click on a link that you make, you make whatever you want, and it's got the cookies that you saved from that session. So like imagine you log in as your private email and on YouTube, and it's just your private email, right? and then you save that session, and then you go back and log into your YouTube account, and then you can click that link in Session Box, and it just goes back without interfering with anything. So you can have multiple. You can create as many sessions as you want. You can have multiple logins at the same time. It's really handy. And there's a paid version as well that allows you to make bookmarks out of those links, which is handy as well. Although I don't pay because I'm cheap. Mm-hmm. Firefox used to have this feature, but Firefox sucks.
Well, I mean,
everything has fewer features than it used to.
Firefox is also bankrupt, so.
But that serves them right. They absolutely abandoned and stabbed all the creators in the back.
Serves them right.
Seriously, I was so sad about Firefox because I was really involved with the community side of things for a while, so I saw the exodus of all the extension creators. Firefox had such a teeming extension marketplace, and just Firefox, the company, just decided to make it harder and harder to have extensions. Not necessarily for the user, but rather for who makes the extensions, you know? So first it was that they had to update the extensions every 3 months, or I think it wasn't even every 3 months. It was like every 6 weeks or something. And then people who were amateurs or just did it for fun, basically extensions would get left unupdated. And the update here that we're talking about was just a single changing the compatibility list. So you had to say that it works with Firefox 7 or works with Firefox 8, and because Firefox would get released a new release every 6 weeks, then yeah, you can imagine what that did. And then they started they changed after that they changed the way they implemented features. So instead of having 3 months in advance to prepare for new features, they started having only a month. The developers of the extension, so basically Firefox went from having the best extensions ever to just having the ones that were popular, and that's it. And then even those they killed, because now it doesn't have extensions. It only has little plugins like Google has. But the thing is, because Firefox has so few users in comparison to Google, all the extension developers are on Google, and they're making the little plugins that work, that are very simple. Because it used to be you could have music players in Firefox, you could have FTP clients, email clients, you could change everything. You could it was super powerful. Firefox was amazing, but not anymore.
So too is the way of time. We didn't do a single viewer question today.
No, I was planning on practically opening it with one. I got one ready and everything, but then the discussion just snowballs. I brought up some YouTube related stuff at the beginning, and that was pretty much the next 2 hours.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. We really
and the question that I had ready is not a quick one. So next time.
Dang it. I was gonna say we can make it work. We still got 20 minutes.
We have to
left.
restrain ourselves. We have to literally be all right, welcome to the Dialog Choices podcast. So and so asks, nothing in between. We can't even start saying anything because there will never be a break in the conversation.
All right, then. Next time, we for sure, definitely no.
We could just go indefinitely at the rate that our conversation goes at. For a charity stream, we could just talk until one of us dies.
That's probably
we're gonna do a charity stream to save the person who died from this charity stream, and that's the charity.
I mean, this is the trap. We've had we've all these sessions where when I'm going to at Andrew's house to record Zero Escape and whatnot, and we go out. He would go on a smoke breaks, and we'd sit there and talk outside for the entire time and so on. But then we'd be wrapping up for the day, and sometimes I'd be literally standing to potentially leave, and I would be standing at the door, and we would just be talking for half an hour or more, and we just kept going. That was when I had the controller casualty. Because
controller casualty. What?
One of my controller rattles if I shake it because like something broke off inside of it, but it otherwise works. And it's because like I'm holding my stuff because I'm supposed to be leaving, but we're just sitting there and talking in the entryway for like 40 minutes. And then I just randomly drop the controller and it slams into his hardwood floor, and I pick it up and it rattles and stuff. And I'm like, oh, it was like it was scary. Like when somebody falls that you are worried about, that I might not get back up. We're just like, oh. Like it was such a weirdly sober moment after in the middle of a conversation. Just slam.
That happens to me every once in a while, but it depends on the people. I think I have some. It depends on the people. Like my boss will do that. He'll just.
No, my recording sessions with Stephanie are very inefficient because there's very long breaks in between, or oftentimes before the first episode, like all the lead up. There'll be like a lot of talking and then showing this and that media to each other, and then interruption. And like, oh, well, that took a while. That person came in and interrupted that thing. Anyway, back to that, and then we still don't start the recording.
Oh, yeah.
I've had some days where I'm like, wow, well, the whole day is gone, and we got like 3 episodes done of just Stephanie stuff and none of my normal schedule. I'm like, I'm gonna have to make up for this later.
Yeah. That's the thing. I also do have that problem of I have a lot more energy interacting with other people than I do alone.
Oh yeah,
like when I'm, So
or like I can marathon, like stream or whatever with a group way more than I can like keep going, just like self-recording and all that.
I think you have more. How long do you get to, how long do you record by yourself on like average, the maximum?
The goal is 2.5 hours. Like I have my schedule broken down because I have an exact number of series that are running out of time that are daily and all that. And so there's 3 half-an-hour shows and 1 hour-long show. And so I called it hour-long. I break the hour-long show into 2 half-an-hour segments in my mind. And so I consider one day to be 5 like video credits, essentially. And so I'm trying to get 5 videos done every day that are half an hour long or something equivalent out of 1 hour videos on average every day. And if I do better than that, then I'm ahead. And if I do worse than that, I'm behind.
But I don't mean that, though. I mean, like, of those 2.5 hours, or maybe more, how long do you get? Like, you sit down to record a game. Can you record, like, for 5 hours? Like, I know you did that with The Last of Us 2 and other games. But how long do you get to go and record? Sit down and record? I know there's days that you probably record an episode and you're done.
You mean like how long can a session get, or like how long can I last, for example?
That's what I'm asking. Because I say this, I can't record more than 4 episodes straight, and that's on a good day.
It's really usually it's variable. I almost never do the entire schedule in one sitting. I've sometimes had like, oh my god, the test is tomorrow kind of deadline feelings where it's like I for one reason or another, too much of the day gets burned through, which sometimes it's just not work-related stuff, but sometimes it's literally like I've been doing work-related stuff all day, but none of it was recording, and now it's finally, I need to get started on recording, and I'll like be in a marathon binge panic where it's like, okay, if I really stay on the clock and I don't take any breaks besides using the restroom, maybe I can get Zelda done today, I can get like 5 episodes done because I'll have like a moment where I'm like, oh no, it's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock, and Bird is my multiplayer thing with Bird is at 7, so I have 3 hours to get 5 episodes done, and they're half an hour each. So I literally need to record them end to end, and I will sometimes intentionally be like, you know what, today they get 28-minute episodes because I'll be like specifically shaving a couple minutes off of each episode so that I can get them done just in time. And like
I do the same.
Was it like I'll finish 3 episodes and then I'll order my dinner on DoorDash, then finish the other 2 episodes while that's processing because the place I order from takes about an hour, and then that arrives and I'm eating that the moment my 5th episode is done in time to then get to the evening like stream with Bird or whatever that I have planned. Like sometimes it's that down to the wire where I'm like, okay, I'm fucked. There's either going to be a day where I do less than my average like quota, or I just am sitting down and just doing this right now. But other times there's a lot of breaks. Like I like to watch like a YouTube video and like drink water and have a snack or something after like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
that's what I do.
These Hades sessions, like some of them are like 90-minute episodes, and like 70 or 80 minutes in, I'm like, all right, this episode's going to have an edit in it because I'm going to cut the recording, get up, and I need to use the restroom. It'll be right back.
I have recently found that like I used to record everything like you do. Usually doing edits only very rarely. But I've been doing, I think I mentioned it before, I've been doing transforming one of my streams into a Let's Play. So I edit, like it's a lot of work editing everything, obviously. But it's a different sort of work. And also the recording is different because you have so much downtime and it's on stream. So you talk to the viewers and all that.
Yeah, streams are weird.
I found that like it's oddly easy, or oddly easier anyway, than a normal Let's Play. I can't imagine doing a normal Let's Play of Fallout New Vegas because it's such a sprawling game, and there's so much. Like it's a very difficult game to Let's Play, and doing edits is just
whenever you play
not even a problem.
Longer spacey kind of games, there's kind of the pressure of like, okay, what happened to this episode? Like, do I feel good ending this episode here, or has like nothing happened basically the entire time? Like, is this what kind of progress was made, or which storyline occurred, or which like was there something meaty in this, or was it just like is it a mistake to put this out at all? Like, is there something wrong here?
And in editing, you can change everything. Like the thing is, like I say a sentence wrong. Like I'm having a dialogue with a character. I misread the sentence and I just ramble about it because I misread it. And then, oh no, wait, that's not what he's saying. Okay, all of that is getting cut because none of that is making it to the Let's Play. You know what I mean? Or just mispronounce the word. I say it after. It's just because I'll edit everything. And it doesn't matter. There's or I fail for half an hour against Deathclaw. It doesn't matter.
That's definitely the highlight for me. Is if I try to edit everything the day that I record it, in part because that's when the shame is fresh. Yeah. Like I'll remember the shame and I'll be like, that no one can see that part. No one can ever know. That's so like when it's fresh in my mind, I'll be like, oh god, I got to get rid of all those parts specifically that it really specifically stand out. Like I can't let that happen.
For me, it's mostly I like editing as soon as possible because it's all fresh in my mind, so it's easier to
if time passes, I'll be like, I'll have no idea. I might as well be watching somebody else's content for all the use my memory is. And that's when it's a lost cause. I'm like, I can't sit here and watch a 3-hour video and then make editing choices the whole way through. It's like that's not the workflow that works here. That's not the schedule I'm keeping.
There's optimizations. I've easily halved, maybe even less than that, maybe less than half the time it takes me now to edit. It used to be that for editing in a half an hour episode, it'd spend me 45 minutes, and now I do it in like 15, 10, 20 minutes, probably. Yeah. Because I know what I said, I know where I'm at, and I'm just like jumping and going. I've even noticed that I have a different tone of voice when I know I'm saying things for the Let's Play rather than for everybody else. So I don't know. It's I think editing might be the future. Oddly enough, it's
becoming a video editor. Editing can be fun when it's all you're doing.
No, but the thing is, if that's all you're doing, you need to be good at it, and I'm not good at it.
Editing on deadline is just a huge pain.
Because I'll show you later off camera. I'll show you my masterpiece of editing, and you'll see the quality that I have.
Trying to fit all of our Wastelands 3 editing time into my normal schedule was just like a huge disruption and a giant pain in the ass.
No, it needs to be put in the downtime. It needs to be put where you're just like relaxing or not as. Because it's a very different state of mind when I'm in a recording mood.
No, a lot of my editing happens in my quote unquote downtime. It's just that it's just really time consuming, and like adding that to my everything else that's happening it's just too much. It's like no, it's a huge pain in the ass. My downtime should be me doing things I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, it also it depends on also the things you want to do. Because for me, it's all over the computer, so fine.
I don't know. I I just don't get enjoyment out of editing.
The work-life balance trap of always working.
Yeah. That's the life of a millennial.
Yeah, I used to be a lot better at binge recording, where I would just record continuously for hours. But that was also because I had to, and so like that was like the most forced. Like it wasn't a matter of like whether I felt like recording right now. It was a matter of like just no, this has to happen right now. And that's when a lot of my peak growth happened, when my channel was first taking off and kind of got me on the path. But it was because I was working a day job. And so I'd get home from my day job, and then I would record, like, I would try to get like 5 episodes done or whatever the hell was my quota back then. And I was just binging that in the time I had before I would then have to just go to, like, I had to get all of that recorded and edited and uploaded, and then go to bed and go back to work, and then come home from work to do that. And there was an infinite, like, loop of always working. And, like, I would come home from work during my lunch break just to finish my uploads.
Uh-huh. That's my loop.
The worst.
The thing is, the thing with the streams though is that loop gets cut the moment, like, because I always had the streams after that loop. You know what I mean? So I recorded everything up until 10 p.m. and then I go live. And if I don't need to record up until 10 p.m. and I go live anyway because I'm recording basically.
I could never do that. I could never solo stream after a recording day is already done. Not unless it's like Overwatch, where I'm basically just playing the game and any commentary is incidental at best.
Yeah.
No, I feed entirely off the energy of other people and the interaction, and that being the commentary. I can't just like vamp for a stream after already having worked all day.
Yeah. That's the hesitation I have in streaming too. Like, the two things I have is I don't think I'm going to make anything quality, so it's not worth the effort.
But then you edit it though. But you edit everything into quality.
I don't edit anything. I don't like editing. I hate editing.
Okay,
it's because it's extra work now. Like, I'm putting more work on top of myself, and I'm already usually exhausted after work. And so, like, I don't mind contributing. Fine. Like, I don't mind playing a game with Keith and like having that record and what. Like, Wasteland 3 wasn't exhausting for me, but if I had to edit, all of that and then put it up after doing that, like, that's a lot for me. I'd be exhausted.
Wasteland 3 also got so boring to edit.
Well, at
first it was like, ooh, how am I going to piece these different scenes and perspectives together while all these interesting parallel stories are happening? But that was like
only fighting.
That was only the first location of the entire game, basically.
Yeah, and then from there, it's just like swapping.
And then I was just like, all right, I literally just had an automated process where I'd be listening to a podcast and be editing visually, which is I would have my layer showing and Andrew's layer was hidden. And I would just drag my cursor across the timeline until it said your partner's turn. And then I would cut the video and then and I'd put a cut there. And then I would just keep dragging until it said your turn again. And then I'd cut again. And I would just delete my perspective in between those. And so I just alternate back and forth between Andrew's perspective and my perspective based on that notification during the fights without ever actually looking at the perspectives back and forth. Like, it was a completely machine process in my brain.
And
it was so time consuming.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I could have saved so much time by just giving up and be like, "Fuck it, you're just gonna watch my perspective the entire playthrough during fights," and just be like, "Whatever, who cares? He did the thing or whatever." If I open my, what was that?
Sorry, was it more time consuming than Dark Souls 3?
The Dark Souls, like editing co-op.
Yeah, because that was a masterpiece.
That stuff's whenever I'm making decisions, it takes longer. So stuff like Dark Souls 3 and stuff like that's all time consuming because I'm choosing perspectives of whatever I think is best at any given moment. And I'm also sometimes even adding edits, like I'm adding additional stuff. Like I even do a thing where if I notice something simultaneously happens in 2 different perspectives, I'll have like a rewind edit where even if it's not clear that it's a rewind, I'll like offset the timing of the 2 videos so you see them separately back to back even though they happen at the same time, because we're seeing like I do a lot of like decent edits for some of that stuff, but I
enjoy that a lot.
But like if I'm making choices, at least it's entertaining, like to me. Like I'm engaged, and so it's more fulfilling and fun to do. Really automatic, time-consuming edits can be irritating. Like I've been going through my Hades videos and just like trying to find all the parts where people talk to make those parts more audible, and like raise the volume during all the random pieces of conversation, which is easy at first because a lot of it's front loaded as like before the run starts, there's a bunch of dialogue. But then there's conversations that happen throughout the run, and the audio balance. Even like I even went back and like lowered the sound of music and sound effects so that the volume of the voices would be louder.
Oh,
and
it's
even
one of those games.
And even after doing that, it's still relatively hard to visually spot dialogue when it happens. I'm like, God damn it. Because a lot of editing processes are faster specifically because I can just edit visually. Like I can just recognize what dialogue is happening with my eyes and see exactly. You can see the individual words as like blobs on the waveform and everything. You're like, oh yeah, that's dialogue right there.
That's what I do as well.
And it really varies from game to game how easy it is to do that. Choices are made, and some games never shut up.
Yeah, and that's I don't know. That's my thing. There's a
yeah. I was just thinking like if there's like a dichotomy where like if I have to read the entire game myself, it's like, oh no,
that's the easiest bit.
It's so much more draining to record. But there's nothing to edit though. I just chop it like here's where it starts, here where it ends. Go, done.
I mean that's a big thing too. Is I do enjoy doing visual novels. It's fun, and there's a lot of just ridiculous moments you run into where you're like, you wrote that on purpose, and it's great. But man, it's exhausting. Like it physically is tolling to talk, to read that much and then do voices for all of that. But I feel bad because I do want to keep doing them, but like I can't even do them on a stream setting because doing it on a live stream is even worse. Because if there's one thing that like, if I'm reading it alone, then it's nice because I can at least go back and like, if I fudge something really badly, I can just re-edit it and go like, I said it right the first time. I don't sound like a complete
But these
jackass.
days, like everything you do is a stream, right?
Yeah, most of the things I do is a stream, and so like I've been gauging stuff. Like I've been trying to think of like, well, I could probably like I could stream myself going through it and reading it, and then just like record all that, and then go back later and dub over the voices for the characters.
Yeah.
So I can just read it flat out in my normal voice, and then just go back later and redub it. But that also sounds like a lot of work for. I don't know what payoff. That's the thing. Is like, are people even going to want to watch it?
I gave up on being perfect so early.
And I don't know. I probably should just not care. But I feel like
I just think back to like my first ever playthrough was Outlast, and like I would read documents, and if I made any mistakes ever, I would immediately like I'd pause. And then say the line again, and like every single document, and then I'd go back in editing, and I would splice together the correct attempts at each sentence.
That is a lot of work.
Then I would fix the entire read through of that. And the peak of that was that there was a period of time. It was Dragon Age Inquisition. I was reading the codex entries, and I was still in that habit where I would manually edit the codex entries. So that all of it was read correctly, but it was just so much extra effort. I'm just like, fuck it, I'll just flub things sometimes. It's normal. Well, the people are weird about it. There's a lot of YouTube comments are weird where they try to diagnose you with things. It's like so if you misread anything, they claim that you're they act like you're dyslexic. Oh. It's like, but then I'm like, and you hear it told to you so many times that you start to think like, am I dyslexic?
See, that's where I have the advantage. When people get pick on me because of that, they just act like I'm Portuguese.
Cool. Little do you know, I just am bad at reading publicly. Ha 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 ha.
It's not ad libbing. It's called cold reading, right? It's
cold reading.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
It's a skill. Cold reading is a skill that you either develop in school when they force you to do it. Well, here in the US anyways, when they like call and you're like, good luck, kid. Or you just never do it. And so you end up, I don't know.
I was like getting gaslit. I was like getting gaslit into thinking that I had a dyslexia at some point just because so many people keep accusing me of it. And like I wasn't in context where anyone was reading for a long time. Like Bird doesn't ever like read stuff in games, for example. But now we're playing Final Fantasy 14, and I'm like, you guys fuck up like every time. Like, it's like this is just the normal. It's like, and then there's been some other playthroughs too where people are just fucking up all the time. I'm like, okay, either I have a real specific group of friends, or this is just the normal skill level people have, and people are too used to like people that are unusually talented at nailing line reads, or even are professionals, because that's the most common person you would see, is someone that just actually does it for their, like, on a professional scale for their work and whatnot.
I can do it if I'm like really inebriated. I can read perfectly. I won't miss a beat.
And if you know the words all already.
I think
like,
what happens if you're really inebriated is that you won't notice you missing the things.
Well, I guess it depends on words. I may say a word incorrectly, but I won't stutter. I won't stop. I won't catch myself. I'll just keep going.
Yeah, I think that explains
but again, that's like that. It's like a weird level. Like, even if you say it wrong, if you try to say it as best as you can, it's not like it's better to me in my head than like saying it and going trying it again. Like, that's awkward to me. I would rather just say something wrong and someone goes like, you mispronounced that thing. It's like, good luck. Like, too bad, kid.
The comments have diagnosed me with like dyslexia, autism, ADHD.
Wait, from not reading correctly? It's not like you're reading in front of a class.
They just diagnose you. Like, people don't have social boundaries, so they just diagnose people in the videos, because any mistakes that are made have to be like, if there has to be some sort of super concrete reason, as opposed to just the frailty of humanity. Like, they can't acknowledge that. Like, the most recent one is somebody like, I don't play Wii games. I skipped the entire Wii generation. I don't play motion controls. Like, I'm not used to that. So I played Metroid Prime, and that was like my first full playthrough of a motion control game, and now I'm doing Skyward Sword. And this fucker on part 4 just comments like, do you have dyspraxia? Your coordination and sense of depth are really bad. And I'm like, it's part 4.
You can tell that from a YouTube video.
I'm like, it's part 4 of me playing a motion control game for the first time. It's my second Wii game ever. It's my first Wii Motion Plus game ever, which is a different kind of motion controls, because normal Wii uses the sensor bar, so it's like light gun logic, but the Wii Motion Plus has a gyroscope, which is different motion controls. It's not about what you're pointing at, it's about it's the gestures and the movements. So I've never used this tool before, and I'm literally in the second hour of using it, and you're like, no, I think I can diagose you with like some sort of debilitating problem. Yes. It's like, excuse me?
Wouldn't that show up in other ways? Like,
yeah, I got through my whole life and I'm totally fine, but Zelda, oh man, Skyward Sword, I'm fucked. We need a whole diagnosis. Like, one thing people often don't get is that a lot of neuroatypical sort of things are often like on a sliding scale, where like everybody could be like kind of like 1% that, or somewhere in that. But it's specifically like with ADHD and like an OCD, or people like often like, oh, I'm so OCD because I like being clean. I'm like, no, that's not what that is.
No, but I wish it was like that.
But like, specifically, these things have names. Once they become debilitating, once they become an obstacle to your day-to-day life, that is when it becomes a diagnosable thing.
The first letter in
Otherwise,
it is obsessive.
It's just normal human failure.
Obsessive is a strong word. You don't like
you don't
obsess. Need, You don't obsess over like your favorite type of food. You obsess over like a feeling of like something that you can't control. It's like
you don't have OCD just because you see a bookshelf and then one book is out of line and you want them to line up now. Like, that's just that's just like that's aesthetic. And like, you don't have ADHD just because you got distracted a couple times.
Yeah, no,
that's just human mind. Like, the brain is bad.
I had that problem where I thought I had OCD, because I was like, I would know, I just would do random stuff like that, where I would see something out of place and I would fix it, or I would like, even if it's not my place, I would clean it. Like, I just felt the need to just like do stuff, and it was like,
that sounds just like lack of social boundaries.
Yeah,
honestly.
someone was like, my therapist was like, no, you're just socially awkward. You're just a weird kid. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. Great. But like, you can think that, but there's like being explained what OCD is like, oh yeah, I definitely don't have that. I'm not crazy about the things that I'm doing. I don't feel an uncontrollable urge to do it. I just like see it and go,
if you have OCD, it's basically ruining your life.
Yeah. Like you
like
would.
It's a constant problem.
If I had OCD, my entire place would be smelling of cleaning supplies all the time because I'd be constantly cleaning it.
Literally take medicines to control their OCD.
Yeah,
it's not. Oh, I have OCD on the weekends.
People talk about OCD like it's cute and quirky.
Yeah,
and it's
it's the same for a lot.
It seems like people that have OCD, it's basically their enemy.
Yeah, I like to think somebody's like sitting there like crying because they're OCD. It's like, oh, look how adorable. He's crying because he can't fix the picture. It's like, wow.
Jesus Christ.
Just the disconnect, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, when I talk about OCD being presented as a cute thing, it's because it specifically is inaccurate.
Yeah. No, I just mean like
I'm hoping they're not laughing at somebody that's miserable with actual ODS. ODST?
Oh no!
ODST. I'm so sorry.
I don't know what is ODST.
OCD.
Oh,
okay. ODST.
I'm imagining
it's like we're so in sync. We've got ESPN.
I'm imagining someone fixes like a painting on the wall and the Halo theme plays like, oh, it's like, oh no, I have ODST. Like,
what a cursed thought.
Is that a Halo thing? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah,
I have
Halo
to just
ODST
apologize by ending the podcast.
Oh no.
That was it, the final episode. See you guys when I reboot the podcast again in a month, like I always do.
Yeah, because if
like
he
the
reboots the
one,
podcast, just figure out what mental disease that makes him keep doing that.
This might be my 7th podcast.
Maybe he'll stop doing it. He'll get medication to stop making podcasts. He has like podcast-itis.
If enough time passes or the cast changes significantly, I just start over at 1.
You should do it like I do. Just name the dates, because people are like, don't you know the people don't like watching the episode 700 and something?
Yeah, but I don't care.
Okay.
He says the sirens like kick up in the background.
Yeah. As somebody who watched the Rooster Teeth podcast for years, I just remember how mad everyone was when they removed the numbers. And it's like, it's nice to have numbers. It's nice to have very clear, like, this is this one, this is that one, and you can refer to them clearly, and you just know which episode is which one.
Your brain is a lot better at remembering numbers.
Yeah, people generally understand that most podcasts, you can just watch any episode. And in fact, our views spike and valley very randomly. So generally speaking, you don't need to communicate that. You don't need to like trick them into thinking like, oh, it's actually not part whatever.
Like this episode is gonna get no views because we talked about YouTube.
We didn't talk mad shit about anyone's favorite media piece. That was our blind spot.
Yeah, we did. We talked mad shit about MatPat. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah,
remember?
Yeah, that'll be the thumbnail and title.
Put him in the thumbnail.
Is a fraud theory.
Yeah, so YouTube.
I'll see you guys next time.
Bye bye.